Hey, everybody. Good morning if you are somewhere in the United States. Good evening if you are not, probably. Possibly afternoon. I think Gus is here from the UK, so good afternoon. And welcome to Variant Roles and our very first session of Saturday morning D&D in Hell, Descent into Avernus. I'm so glad that you all are here to join us. I'm very excited about this campaign. My name's Eugenio. I'm also known as your friendly neighborhood dungeon master, DM Jazzy Hands, and I will be your dungeon master for the next 12 weeks as we adventure our way through the blasted wastes of the first level of hell. Let's really quickly, before we dive into today, let's go ahead and just go around and introduce our players for the next 12 weeks. Folks, if you can let us know who you are and where folks can find you on the interwebs. Let's start with Wally.
Hi, yes, my name is Wally. I am he, him. You can find me on the Digital Era podcast with the Decode Network. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Wally132, as seen in my overlay.
Thank you, Wally, and thank you for the reminder. I also use he, him pronouns, and I apologize for not saying that in the first place. Let's move down to Dobbs.
Hi, I'm Dobbs. I go by Dobbs Moses just about everywhere: Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. I go by she or they pronouns. I mainly paint minis. So that's what, most of my content will be. But I'm happy to join you guys.
Love that. Happy to have you. Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Enzo Michael, mostly being an absolute goon.
Sounds about right. Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex, she, her. You can find me about the internet on Alex_Catu on Twitter, where I'm mostly just shitpost about D&D, sorry.
And
Yeah,
last
that's
but
mostly
most
gunning.
certainly not least, Jeremiah.
Hi, I'm Jeremiah, he, him, and you can find me on Twitter as Tech Noir. I'm a game designer. I also appear on the Tome Show as the Monstrous Ecologist.
I do love that series. Well, awesome. So this is everybody. We have some returnees to the Variant Roles channel. We have some newcomers. I am very, very excited about this adventure and this campaign. So everybody knows for today we're going to be doing sort of a session 0.5. There's some stuff that I want to go over. There's some character building and party building stuff that we're going to do today. But also hopefully we'll get to roll some dice at some point a little bit later on and have a bit of adventure and kick things off. So with all of that, let's go ahead and start talking about some of the things that we're going to be doing and using on this stream. And the first thing that I want to talk to all of you about, because it is super important, we value this very highly here on Variant Roles. It's something that a lot of channels are using now, and I want to be sure that it gets the time and the airtime that it deserves, and that's safety tools. Obviously, a campaign that takes place in Hell has the potential to deal with some dark themes. And so we want to make sure that all 6 of us are comfortable with everything that comes up throughout the course of the campaign. But we're doing this on air because it's also important for all of you, our community of viewers, that you are clear on the sorts of things that we're going to be doing in this campaign, and that we have your buy-in as well. So there are 2 main safety tools that we're going to be using for this campaign. One is a system of lines and veils, which if you've watched or streamed with Variant Roles before, you're almost certainly familiar with. The idea here is that I have a little spreadsheet, and on this spreadsheet, I and the rest of our players have put things that they consider their hard lines and their veils. And what does that mean? That means hard lines are things that somebody does not want us to talk about, period, the end, that's it. I haven't asked any questions about why anything that's on the lines or veils list is there, because that doesn't matter. These are things that our players or myself have said, I'm not interested in having these be a part of this game because they will ruin my fun, and that's totally acceptable. So just so I think I'm all about the transparency, so if it's cool with all of you players, I'm going to go ahead and just read out the things that are on the list of lines, and when we get to Veils, I'll do that as well. I don't know who put these things in. They're all just on a list, nor does anyone need to know, because it doesn't matter. These are things that we're not going to touch. So the things that we have on our list of lines are queer phobia of any sort, sexual assault, racial slurs, domestic abuse, non-consensual torture. I love whoever put that disclaimer at the beginning. And body shaming. I am 100% on board with all of those things. I always have this list up. It is always sort of in my mind. Nobody's perfect. If I stray into any of these areas, that's where the second of our safety tool comes into play. We're going to be using the X card. And what that is, and this can go for folks in chat as well, if we get into something that's on this list of lines, or maybe it's not on the list of lines, but as we're playing, somebody realizes, oh, I'm actually not at all okay with where this is going. Oh, look, Dobbs is playing our Vanna here, showing us what an X card is, right? So there's a bunch of different ways that this can happen. You can put our players can put an X in our Zoom chat, which is our video conferencing system that we have. I've always got that in my periphery. You can put it in chat if you so desire. You could hold up a card like Dobbs has, although I would maybe not recommend that one because I'm not always looking at all of your lovely faces, so I might miss it if that's... I know, Alex, I know. I try, but I have a lot of tabs open on my browser. Look, I'm trying.
I'm so pretty.
I know. Well, look, you're all lovely. And actually, Jeremiah, when you signed on, your whole screen was green, and I was like, oh, this is a thing, and I love it. So if at any point I see an X card pop up, I see an X anywhere in any of the different chat systems or on screen, I will stop the scene where it is. I will wrap it up as best as I can in narrative without continuing to talk about whatever the subject is that we want to avoid, and we will move on. Period. The end. No questions asked. Depending on what happens, that may be something that we discuss after the stream off air, or maybe at the end of the stream if the viewers, you lovely humans that are watching me talk about all this, are involved. But in that moment, it just ends. Period. The end. Because this is a safe space. This is going to be fun, and something that keeps it from being fun for anyone is just not going to happen. So the only thing left to talk about then is our veils. Veils are things that we don't really want to spend a whole lot of intense time role-playing, but it's okay if they occur over the course of the campaign. Veils are things that if they come up, we're going to try and deal with them off-screen as much as possible, right? We'll maybe do a quick couple of sentence overview summary about what happened, because it's important to the story, and then we move on. Things that are in our veils list include explicit eye trauma. Yep, I have no problem with that one. Explicit sexual content, extreme self-mutilation, and needles and injections. So that's what's on our veils list. Love all of that. If any of that comes up, I will do my best to play that scene off screen, and we'll move on from there. This spreadsheet that I have for my players is always open. They are always welcome to add to it. Obviously the game is going to go, our campaign is going to go where it needs to go for us, but we also want our viewers to have a really good time. So if there's stuff that comes up that you, as a viewer, as someone in the chat, as someone watching us here on the channel is concerned about, you should absolutely let us know. Because it's important that this whole community of VR, not just the 6 of us on your screen, but those of you watching as well, are comfortable and happy. And I want to make sure that is true for the next 12 weeks and for any show and for always here on Variant Roles. So if there are no questions, you can certainly type questions in chat, but at the moment I'm just checking in with my players. Any questions about any of that? We've gone over this before, so I think I covered most of the questions that you might have had, but great. Okay, so that was a little tedious, but I think really important, and thank you all for sort of bearing with me through that. Next thing I want to talk about is what this game is going to be, what it's going to look like, what the tone is, what we're going to delve into, what kinds of things we're going to talk about, and the feel, the tone, the style of this campaign. Now, having read through the adventure and knowing what I plan on throwing at you all, at least at first, what's the best way to make God laugh? Have plans. That is particularly true for Dungeon Masters. But I would actually love to start talking with you all and asking you all, what are some things, what are some themes, knowing what little you do about the setting and about the adventure, just from sort of what's been out in the public. What are some things that you think you might encounter? What are some things you would like to encounter? What are also, you know, if this comes up, what are some things that you would like to avoid encountering? And I don't just necessarily mean, you know, monster types and I want to see a barbed devil, I want to see a Cybriex, right? That's not what I mean. I mean, like, what are some themes that you think you might want to explore? What are some fun things about adventuring in hell that you want to explore over the course of the campaign? Does anyone want to jump in here?
Mad Max in Hell. Mad
Oh,
Max
that,
in
I was
Hell.
about to say
I
the
was
same
li-
thing.
I was gonna say the same
gonna
thing.
say the same exact thing.
Mad Max in Hell. Mad Max in Hell.
That's literally
It's all I've
Yeah.
ever wanted.
Yeah.
exactly.
I was not expecting that answer at all, so I guess I just have to throw out all my notes and start again. No, yes, we will absolutely. It's funny because looking at the book as a whole, Mad Max in Hell was like a big sell for this, and there was a bunch of sort of emphasis on that at D&D Live last May. It is possible to run this adventure without ever really interacting with the Infernal War Machines. I don't know why you would do that, but it's
Why
funny to me
wouldn't
that
you?
like they are not actually, they don't have to be a central part of the adventure. They for sure will be for us. Don't you worry.
Wonderful.
Okay, I love that. What else, Jeremiah? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in the more sort of esoteric philosophical sides of things, of dealing with the themes of redemption and trying to be a good person in a bad place, and what that's like. That seems relevant to some of our current real world. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that we'll talk about again as we sort of meet your characters, which we'll do shortly. But yeah, I had a lot of ideas about what a party would look like for this adventure, right? You could sort of go the route of the goodly heroes who find themselves in hell and have to sort of fight against the tide of evil that surrounds them and emerge heroic. You could also have the group of adventurers who are, you know, evil. Did I turn the mature settings on? We'll see. The evil bastards, right? And they just sort of do what they want and they get what they want, and it doesn't matter how they get there, right? What I'm super excited about, and what I guess knew was a possibility, but I wanted you all to create the characters that you wanted to play. What I'm super excited about for this campaign is we have a beautiful mix of that in this party. And that's going to cause a lot of really fascinating tension because some of you are good souls who want to, well, I don't know what you want, but you don't want to do the bad things to get what you want. And some of you are less than good souls who will do what it takes to get what you want. And so this sort of brings up a great topic that I want to talk about, which is how we're going to handle the inevitable intra-party conflict. I know most of you at least a little bit through various interactions. Some of you are pretty much strangers to each other outside of our Discord channel that we've been talking. So I want to be sure that I say up front that for me, and I want to hear your all's take on this, but for me, any sort of intra-party conflict, any arguments, any fights, any disagreements that our characters have, I want to make sure that they stay firmly in the realm of our characters, right? And I can let you all know right now that when those moments happen, and I say when, not if, because I'm sure they will, when they happen, if they get to a sort of point that we're feeling feelings, I'm not necessarily going to put the kibosh on that, though any of you can at any point, because I think that's really interesting. What I will promise you, though, is that after the session is over, either at the end of the session live, if that's sort of the vibe we're feeling, or afterwards, once we're offline and we can just talk the six of us, we'll talk that stuff out, right? Because I want everybody to finish all these games with good feelings, and I want to be able to explore that sort of conflict within different moral outlooks. Thoughts and feelings about that?
I agree. I always felt that whenever it comes like inter-party conflict, like keep it in character. Don't let your personal feelings bubble over. And then after a session is over, just like, hey, talk it out. You know, like any kind of argument you have with friends or in a group.
I think that's probably most of our default, but it's worth saying out loud just because of what Jeremiah just pointed out, that a lot of this adventure, a lot of this campaign for us is going to be about exploring concepts of redemption and being good in an evil place or not, right? Okay, cool. What else about Avernus? What else about this campaign? Anything else that folks want to bring up?
I know that the whole like I know Jeremiah brought it up, but like the whole duality of man kind of thing, like, you know, good and evil. What drives someone to do something good, and what drives someone to do something evil, and what is the limit that they will take to get their goal, kind of thing. I'm really to see how that will play, and especially since we're in hell, there are going to be outside forces, kind of like, you know, guiding us in what we need to make our choices with, be they good or bad.
Sure. Excellent. I love that. Anything else?
I personally am so excited about Deals with Devils. Just because
That's good because
Yes.
your character's already made one.
Hush,
Spoiler
no.
alert. I don't.
All of this. Oh no, absolutely not at all. Not at all. Spoiler.
Okay.
They would be very, very upfront with that.
Great. I love that.
Yeah, like
Coach talks about it all the time.
I mean, yeah.
Standard.
You should
Why
do
not?
this too. It would be great. No.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. Look at me. I turned out just fine. No, but I'm really excited about the Deals with Devils part because it plays to such an interesting part of people's psychology as to like what could entice a person to wind up giving something so valuable to themselves for something either material or not.
Yeah.
The sheer realm that the devils inhabit is just so can't wait to sink my claws into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what does it take for you to compromise your whatever your moral center is? I love that. Dobbs, anything from you? No is okay. We've covered a lot.
I mean, yeah, basically everything. I know it's kind of cheesy, but everything everyone else said.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I'm excited for Mad Max in Hell, you know, to explore the ideas that, you know, there will be a lot of temptation down here.
Mm-hmm.
And who's going to hold firm in their beliefs, who's going to give in, and what are they going to give up when they give in. So pretty excited.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay, so a few other things that I want to sort of touch on that we might get into. So there's a lot of sort of very dark descriptions about the wasteland that is Avernus, right? There's the issue of you know, everywhere you look, pretty much there's the blood wars going on here, devils versus demons. This is the battleground for that. So war and sort of you know, how that affects people, even if those people happen to be mostly demons and devils, that's going to be a thing. As we get a little bit later on in the campaign, there's a little bit of I wouldn't exactly call it body horror, because that's not what it is. It's not about a body, but there's some sort of organic grossness that happens, and we'll sort of feel that as we get there. I won't touch anything that has to do with eyes, anything like that. But there's some really, I think, some really interesting and very different from anything that we've seen so far from Wizards of the Coast and their adventures. Some sort of like grossness that I think is really interesting and sets the tone pretty well for that location. There was something else. There was a third thing, and I can't remember what it was. Well, anyway, that'll do for now. Okay, so those are the sorts of things that we're looking for. Does anybody have anything that you know you want to... Actually, this is going to be a better question after we do our characters. So let's talk about our characters. Okay, so I want you to, like I said, and I told the players this before, this is not a deep dive into their characters, because as we all know, as anyone who's ever played Dungeons & Dragons, or really probably any tabletop role-playing game before, your characters are going to evolve. You're going to learn things about them as players, as we learn about them as viewers, and me as the DM. But why don't we go around and introduce your characters as you would in a first session, and tell us a little bit about them. And I won't call on you all. You can sort of go in whatever order you would like. So who wants to tell us about their beautiful character first? Oh my god, you guys, not all at once though. Look, if I'm not going to call on you, it has to be organized, because
I guess I'll step up.
Great.
And play. I will be playing Charity. They go by they, them pronouns. They are a golden skin tiefling who has found themselves here in search of a captain of a ship that they were on while they were entertaining the masses there. Basically, they are in hell looking to finalize a ballad of this captain who got sent to hell. Other than that, the rest is up to everyone else to find out.
Okay. Great. We're going to find out some interesting things about Charity at the end of today, but we'll get to that later, I suppose. Anybody else?
I guess I'll go next.
Do it, Wally.
I am playing Captain Julius the Red Hand. I was a captain of a pirate ship that, after a certain adventure occurred, we found a deck of many things. And I just happened to draw a card that sent me down to hell. And while in hell, I decided, like, you know what? It's not so bad here. It's a place where I can live my life as a pirate, get gold, plunder, and just enjoy it. But there may be times when I maybe get too bored around here and not to see what else is beyond out there in the wasteland.
I love that. Okay. Next up.
Yeah, speaking of characters who ended up in hell and decided actually maybe it's not so bad here. Evangeline Flint. Yeah, Evangeline Flint was quite a renowned mercenary in Baldur's Gate, and was sent on a mission to hell, guarding some slightly squishier individuals than she. It didn't go to plan. A lot of people died, and now she's stuck in hell. But you know what? This is kind of working for her. You know, this is, you know, she's a half orc, quite well educated in a military kind of school capacity, but you know, she's finding hell quite to her tastes, and doesn't really mind staying here for a while.
I love it. I love it. Who's left? We got Dobbs and Jeremiah. Who wants to go next?
Dobbs, why don't you go first?
Great.
Okay.
All right then.
I'll be playing Imba. She is a goblin artificer, and you know, quite a bit of the mad scientist archetype, and she is, you know, a bit aged. You know, she's been around the block. And...
Oh my god, I love her.
And blew up the block.
Yeah, that too.
I was about to get to that. You see, she was working on one of her new experiments because she, you know, I absolutely love learning things. And the experiment went awry, and there was a sort of catastrophic explosion. Next thing she knew, she woke up in hell. But she quite literally blew herself to hell.
Was a hell of an explosion, one might say. Oh god, I'm so bad at puns. Why do I do it?
Buddy. Oh, buddy.
But funny thing is, a common theme here apparently is it's not so bad down here. It's absolutely fascinating. These machines, I must know how they work.
I love it.
That's fine.
And of course, I am Scribbler. I too found myself in hell at the same mission that brought Evangeline down, and I don't think it's lovely down here. I think it's abhorrent. I think that the world is terrible, but there are people here that I actually care what happens to them. So I must, you know, assist in their endeavors until we manage to find our way out again.
So speaking of, so that's our cast of characters. Whoo boy, y'all. And that was a perfect segue, Scribbler, to my next question for all of you, which is, so it sounds like Scribbler wants out of hell. I'm not actually super convinced that the rest of you do. What is What is your goal regarding your stay in Avernus? Is it, as seems to be for Scribbler, to go back home to the material plane? Is it to stay here and become a warlord of Avernus? Is it to become the second in command to some powerful archduke? What are your goals here in Avernus in a sort of very broad sense?
Second in command. Oh, you're shooting.
Oh, I should have put that in. Oh boy.
No. You're lowballing here. We're going
Straight
to the top of hell.
Straight to the top. Okay, I love that. All right, so Charity's just all about that infernal hierarchy.
Why not?
Was I correct in assuming that Scribbler wants to go home?
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, in particular, he is concerned about Evangeline, just because we came here together, and we were the only survivors of our group, and he feels responsibility to try and help her. He also knows that she's mostly pretty much a good person. She's chaotic, but she's a good person. She's too violent and too impulsive and a bit, too much. But
punchy.
but she's a good person, and he doesn't want her to leave her alone in a situation where she could get hurt. So he's particularly concerned with her, and he would like to convince the rest of them that really hell is not good for them at all. It's hell. It is not a vacation home.
You're right. Take vacation out of that, and you have this down.
And feels compelled to point out to Charity, he is incorrect on every level, including the direction of rulership.
Straight to the bottom is where you want to go.
That's true.
Yes,
that's a good point.
Yes, a Scribbler. To be fair, yes, it's great to be one to lead some kind of war band or be a warlord of sorts, but really, making executive decisions amongst large groups of people is too much work. I'd rather just, survive, make money, and, just live and see what else is out there. Maybe find a large treasure trove or two, make a legend of myself. I have someone writing a song about me, and then they could take that song and spread it out to the masses.
Not if they don't leave Avernus.
No,
Yes.
I hope they don't leave Avernus.
Yeah. For that fame and wealth to have any meaning, you need to go back to the world.
That's so overlooked.
Maybe. I was just about to say maybe we found our way to get y'all out, but maybe not. Okay, so hold on before we go too further down this little rabbit hole. So Scribbler mentioned that part of his reason for wanting to go home is to help our little goblin friend. So Dobbs, why don't you tell us a little about
to help Evie.
Oh, to help Evie. I'm sorry. Yes, sorry, to help
Yeah.
Evie. I was looking right at the wrong box on the screen. So Evie, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're thinking and feeling?
Oh god, she's just having so much fun. It's just so much fun. Evie is really very much enjoying not having to follow kind of the regimented rules that she's quite used to in military and then mercenary life. She's really adapted to this quite well. She feels pretty
so glad
bad
you ended
though.
Up in hell.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's like, this is actually I think I'm good here. Not really interested in any hierarchical aspects of it. Just kind of, there is no shortage of work for mercenaries in hell.
Absolutely.
She's it's like she found her calling, and then her calling found its calling. So she's pretty stoked actually, but she feels pretty bad that Scribbler's trapped down here because.
Sure.
Scribbler's having a bad time. Scribbler's not enjoying hell, so yeah, she probably wants to get Scribbler out of here. And while she is not convinced that leaving hell is the best option, she definitely is committed to finding a way out.
Great.
If only just for Scribbler, because she was hired as basically the bodyguard, and everybody else died, and she's like, well, technically still on the clock for this job.
Whoops.
What's
Technically,
I love that.
need to get this guy home.
I'll also say that, you know, and you all can decide how much this matters to your characters, but if it were me, like, I might have a great time in hell, but there are some things that I'm not sure I could get past. Like the fact that, with the exception of basically 2 specific sources, every bit of food and drink in hell just tastes awful. Like, that's a real drag, right? There are 2 places. We'll talk a little bit about this later, but there are 2 places that you can get a good meal. One of them is in this wandering emporium that, you know, nobody can really track particularly well, so you better hope that when you find it, you're ready for a good meal or whatever. And the other is if you find these monstrosities called abyssal chickens, which are horrifying to look at, but really quite tasty to eat, if you can manage to grab and kill them. But other than that, the food is so bad down here, and that just feels like a deal breaker for me. But that's me.
It feels like an opportunity. If I can find this way back to the surface world and I can keep that open, I mean, I can just funnel sweet rolls down here all day.
One hopes that the mere presence in Avernus doesn't ruin the food, but maybe that's another part of the mission, is to find a way to preserve their taste.
Dobbs?
What a great segue, Imba.
I'm pretty sure Imba might be trying to come up with a contraption to make the food a little bit more bearable. You know, I may be old, but I still have my taste buds. You know?
Imba's a nana.
I love it. Anything else? Not that is not a lofty goal, Imba, but is there anything else that Imba wants out of hell, or to get out of hell, or...
So Imba doesn't, you know, thinking about a very long-term goal is not something she does.
Fair, absolutely fair.
She's very in the now, and but she is absolutely fascinated with a certain type of infernal war machine. You know, the specific, the cycles. She absolutely must have one. I must know how it works. I want one. I want to write it. I want to tinker with it.
I should add, one of my minor goals is possibly to arrest Imba for getting us thrown out of Ravnica in the first place because of her experiment.
That's
goodness 5-0. Oh no.
But that's a minor goal.
Right.
Minor goal.
Also it definitely feels like
super
it's
low
on
the priority list.
Yeah.
Yes. Super low on the priority list. But
I love that.
Imba's impulsive experiments may have already affected the party. FYI.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Possibly.
A little.
I love it. Well, so Imba, that's I swear I didn't plan it this way or feed you all lines for this, but so many really perfect segues. So Imba, you talked about wanting to learn more about infernal war machines. And it just so happens that the 5 of you have gotten your hands on an infernal war machine. So I have a series of quick questions that I just want real quick answers, and I'll go around and I'll call on you all so that we can establish a couple of things. My first question is, how long has your character been here in Avernus? And we're going to start with, let's start with Charity.
Well, see, I was going to say that all depends on Captain Jeremiah.
So, Jeremiah, Julius, how long have you been in, Julius, how long have you been in Avernus? Yeah.
I've been here for about 4 to 5 months now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ooh.
Really just becoming native. Okay, so, Charity, then, have you been here that whole time?
If it's on 4 to 5 months, I've been very close on the tail end of that.
Okay.
Within like a couple weeks, maybe wound up down there.
A couple of weeks of Julius coming down?
Yeah, like maybe like a week or 2.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, well.
So you two have definitely figured things out. Imba, how long have you been down here?
So I want to say probably around the 3-month mark, not quite as long as Julius and Charity, but, you know, still a decently long time.
Totally. Long enough to sort of have figured out some of the basics of getting around. And cool. Evie.
I think we're probably the newbies here then, because if Scribbler was tossed out of Ravnica by Imber and then came to Baldur's Gate and then went to hell,
Yeah, I
I
kind of
reckon
get
we're
the
the newbies.
I kind of get the impression that maybe time runs differently in hell. So
That's also true.
yeah, so maybe 3 months for Imba could have
Yeah.
been a few years for me. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Before you came
So
down,
I reckon
you mean?
we've maybe been there for like a month or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
same for you, Scribbler?
oh yeah, same
you
mission.
all, you all came together. Okay.
We came on the same party.
Great.
The
I love that.
ill-fated journey.
The ill-fated journey. So we've got everywhere from a month and a half to about 5 months or so, and you all have met up, and for various reasons, which we will undoubtedly discover over the next 12 weeks. But you've met up, and you've formed a rather motley crew. Obviously, as we've seen, lots of different morality structures and desires and goals, but you all at least are pragmatic enough to know that there is safety in numbers, and despite many of your desires to be here, it's definitely still a dangerous place to be. So how long, and anyone can answer this, how long have you all been together, working together as a warband, as a party?
Well, I think that upon finding Captain Julius, I would have automatically just like bended myself up to him,
Sure.
and then I think we might have picked up the rest of the crew on the way, just like making our rounds.
Yeah, I think after Charity found me, we were very much like, look, between us, look, I have looks, you have looks. We can get by on our looks.
Oh my god.
We can only get by on our looks for so long. We're going to
Wait, shit, who has brains?
Is that all I am to you? It's just
Be careful what you
I
ask
mean,
for.
because, yeah,
That would be me.
Right, as you said, the Scribbler is definitely the brains, which I imagine is how he got roped into this whole.
We're going to need some sort of muscle in this. So I think we should try to find someone. How to put this lightly. They think with their fists rather than their head.
Cool. So you find Evie outside like a bar somewhere, just beating up somebody.
And
Perfect.
that's right there. That's what we find.
I don't think there are actually any good bars. In
She
hell
didn't say
either.
good bar.
Not a good bar.
I'm just saying, you want a good drink too. You're not getting that in hell.
It was
Well, no,
a
because-
femur. It was a large
Yeah.
femur laid out on top between two rocks, and that was the bar. And there
It was a
some,
low bar. It was a very low bar.
You're right.
Yeah.
And you had to be real careful that the devil bartender didn't try and sneak you a cup of water from the river Styx, just for some fun.
Ugh,
Okay,
I'm running
great.
low on my own booze.
So you had little pairings before you all became your party, and well, let's see. I mean, if Evie and Scribbler have only been here a month and a half, how long after you all got down here, Scribbler, did you join up with these others?
Well, one of the first people we encountered was Imba,
Right. Right.
Straight up, yeah.
which actually led to an interesting conversation concerning I would normally be arresting you right now. That was what I was doing when you sent me to another plane entirely. But we're in hell, so you get a pass.
How did you know each other? That's awesome.
Oh, Evie. Oh, you sweet baby angel.
That's really great.
I love her. Great. Okay, so almost immediately, the maybe days at most, you all just happen to run across Imba because fate works in mysterious ways here in hell, and presumably not long after that, you met up with the other two, and from there things sort of kicked off. So my next question, and I'm gonna sort of I've gotta look. We're gonna roll dice. Well, I'm gonna roll a die. I've numbered all of you, and I'm gonna ask each of you for little bits of information about how you came into possession of this infernal war machine that you now have.
Oh boy.
So the idea here is that you've come together, and like I said, you're all at the very least pragmatic enough to realize that safety in numbers is important, and at least for now, until you can all sort of figure out how to achieve your individual goals, you all have the shared goal of staying alive and not falling prey to, demon hordes that are going to attack the devils or the various roving war bands that drive all over the wastes of Avernus. So my first question about the Infernal War Machine is, let's see, who had the war machine before you, if anyone? Where did you find this war machine? And this is a question for Charity.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. So I picture that
Oh no. What
the
have I
captain
done?
and
Why do I
I.
think this is a good idea?
Because
That
of
pose
course,
alone.
of course,
Come on.
naturally, the bard would be the one talking somebody out of giving up their war machine for a
Ah.
couple extra soul coin, if it were so up to them.
Oh,
And
okay.
then we probably stabbed them and killed them, and then took the machine from
Took the
them,
coin back.
and then took our coin back.
Okay. And who was this? Was this a lone devil that happened to have a scavenger war machine? Was it part of a larger band? Was it?
Ooh,
Was it the guy I was
think it
beating up
was-
outside the tavern?
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
I'm thinking about this now. It was probably we're fairly good at discerning lone ships, merchant ships
Sure.
that are going around, and we probably were finding easy pickings, and this one just probably freshly got this, was like
Sure.
picking up people to go and help them, and we just like, oh, of course, and then just took it.
Great. Okay. My next question is, what condition is this war machine in when you all took it off of this person? How lovely! This is a question for Imba, which feels perfect.
I want to say it's not new.
Sure.
Maybe
Sure.
not as haggard as it might be. It's definitely seen some use.
Sure.
But
So one of the mechanics that's in the book about Infernal War Machines is that, well, the machines have hit points, so we could certainly talk about it mechanically. We could talk about it in terms of hit points, but also there's a system where the war machines can have levels of exhaustion, essentially vehicular exhaustion. 1 to 6, just like players, just like characters. But instead of, when exhaustion hits level 6 for characters, you dead. When the war machine hits level 6, it's broken down and needs to be repaired through any various methods before it works. So, Imba, where does the machine have levels of exhaustion? If so, where does that fall on the scale, 1 to 6?
I want to say probably about, let's see, 1 would be like pristine new, or is 1
0
just...
would be pristine new.
Okay, so I was thinking maybe about a 1 or a 2.
Okay, yeah, I think let's even go with a 1. We'll say that you can, as you have, over the days that you've had it, Imba, as you've inspected it, because I have no doubt that Imba has wanted to really dig in there and learn about it, you've seen signs of where this thing has been repaired over and over by very clearly different hands, and it looks like some of the repairs look fairly new. You can see like little shinier plates of metal here and there that indicate sort of more recent repairs. So it looks like maybe whoever had just gotten their hands on it had maybe just completed some repairs, and we are now at sort of exhaustion level 1, as it were, mechanically speaking. Okay, so it's in decent shape. I love that. What does this machine look like? And this is a question for Scribbler, although I will probably go to each of you to add little bits. But we'll start with Scribbler. Tell us what this war machine looks like.
Well, the base machine, of course, has a claw in the back and a harpoon or two up front, sort of a hunting vehicle. This particular one looks like the previous owner decided that they were going to be flamboyant, and painted a color that would stand out across the background.
Oh, I love that.
So let's go with a pale blue.
Oh.
Just like my hair.
Yes.
Ooh, lovely.
That's why Charity chose it.
Charity's like, that one!
Yeah, it was painted a pale blue. The devil we took it away from thought, well, it'll be noticed in the hellscape that we are in by being pale blue. So it's oddly comfortingly colored,
Aw.
considering where we are.
Aw.
Oh, it'll be red soon.
It's your little it's your little slice of not hell. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, so normally, the type of machine that you have come across, which I think I kind of mentioned very briefly once, is a scavenger. And basically, these machines were originally designed to sort of sift through the battlefields on Avernus and pick up scrap metal and other, anything else worth salvaging. So as Scribbler mentioned, there are a couple of harpoons on one end. There's also a grappling claw on one end that can be used to grab stuff out of the piles of detritus in and around the battlefields of Avernus. But this thing has been around for a while. It's had some changes. It got a coat of paint, and I think maybe we, Scribbler, you and I, we weren't thinking and we misspoke about there being two harpoons. I think maybe this one might have one harpoon and a different sort of weapon station because someone just wanted to have a little bit of fun. So, Evie, why don't you have a look at the alternate weapon stations in Appendix
Oh, I'm already
B?
there.
Great. And you tell me which... what new weapon does this scavenger have? Oh dear. We are sticking to the alternate weapons. I am not giving you a magical upgrade yet. I said yet. Don't be sad.
Fire? No, that's not a strategic choice.
We're in hell.
We're in hell. That's
cool-looking
cool.
choice.
It's cool, but it's not strategic. Ooh, okay.
Oh, some of the
Oh,
descriptions
you can
of
make
these
people
are just
stupid.
some of these descriptions. I'm
Okay,
gonna read a couple
okay.
of them while you decide because I think they're really
Yeah,
cool. So
yeah,
there are
please
basically
do.
4 choices in this section of the book, and this whole appendix has all kinds of really awesome stuff. If any of you have your hands on the book or are going to be getting it, this is such a cool appendix to look at.
This
But the
is
weapons
just so
upgrades
cool.
options are acidic bile sprayer. This hose
I think
weapon
that's
is
the
attached
one.
to demonic organs that produce an acidic bile that dissolves flesh on contact. Oh, is that the one, Evie?
I think it's the one. I think that's got to be the one. It was either that or the stick sprayer.
This flexible hose is connected to a tank that holds 30 gallons of water from the river Styx. Each use of the weapon depletes 10 gallons of the water, and refilling the tank requires access to the river Styx. Well, duh. Okay, but we're gonna go with the acidic bile sprayer.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
gonna smell. I gotta tell you.
That's gonna stink.
Baby
Yeah.
bile blue.
Oh no.
Oh,
maybe that, or I mean, the flamethrower is just so cool, but it is not a strategic choice.
It does say the description of the flamethrower is, although useless against demons, this weapon is
Yeah.
great against flammable creatures and objects.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
The Infernal Screamer is probably not gonna fly for a mostly good aligned party, no matter how
that one's
chaotic
kind of
we are.
rough.
That one's a bit rough. Or the stick sprayer. So I think I can narrow it down to the bile or the river Styx water.
Well, do we want to take a
I
little
think-
vote?
I
do
think
we want to make
we
a group
need to
choice
vote
here?
on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Raise your hands
Yeah.
on camera if you want the acidic bile sprayer, and if you want the Styx sprayer. Oh boy. Okay.
There you go.
Styx sprayer it is.
River Styx,
Mhm.
because
So
that. Why
a
don't you
tank
read that one out?
and I think you all identified what this tank of water was pretty quickly, and you're aware that it's very important that that maintain its integrity, that you all don't touch the contents of said tank ever, and we'll talk a little bit more about the river Styx later. But yeah, that's
Evie,
not
Evie, don't drink it. Evie,
it's not a water bag.
Drink it.
It's not a water pouch.
This ain't water.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I've got one more question, and that works out well because Julius, this one is for you since you haven't answered one yet. What is the name of your war machine? Now, I know in the Discord we talked a little bit about the name of your war band, which we'll get to in a second, but I want to know what this war machine is called. Ooh. And this can be something that y'all named it, or maybe you found it and, like a boat, the name was spray painted on the back side of the machine. I don't know. And maybe you haven't rechristened it. It's up to you. But what is the name of this war machine?
So I had my own ship back when I was on the material plane, and it was called the Cursed Child. And I offered it up as a vote to the crew, to my crew now, that we named this war machine the Cursed Child. And I think I would also pose that vote once again. So my new crew, we have this war machine, and we call it the Cursed Child. Take a vote. My vote counts as twice because I'm captain. But let's take a vote. For those who want to call this the Cursed Child, raise your hand, appendage, or whatever metallic nub you would like to raise into the air. Okay, that's fine.
Good.
All right. Okay, so even with your double vote, we're not sure. Your party wasn't so sure about the Cursed Child. It felt a little dark. Also, some of your party probably realized and pointed out to you that it's extremely bad luck to name multiple vessels by the same name.
Luck is what you make of it, but Charity.
We've been through this.
I know, we understand. We've been through this before.
To do repeats is so droll. I mean, it's already blue. Let's think of something with blue.
We could call it, it's already as a ship that stands out in the middle of this hellscape. We call it something.
Let's call it the Baby Blue.
I was about to say something like that, either the Baby Blue or the Bluebird. I was one of those.
Oh.
So how about this?
Bluebird.
I say we go with the Bluebird.
Bluebird.
I would normally lean towards cerulean avian, but I think we can, make adjustments for those who need them.
Alliterations. Come on.
That's true. That's
Savvy.
true. Cerulean's a beautiful word, but the alliteration of Bluebird is lovely. All right, so we have the Bluebird Scavenger. I love everything about this. Now,
can we spray paint the name on the back in like millennial pink so we've got like blue and pink?
For sure.
The prettiest war machine.
The prettiest. I love it. Okay, so we've named the war machine. Now, I know you all started this conversation. I will be honest, I didn't track the whole conversation, so I don't know if you settled on something. Do we have a name for the band?
We did not. We decided that it would probably be more fun to have it just naturally kind of percolate and let us all decide something here like we did with the Bluebird. So.
Okay. So we'll take a few minutes, and if we don't come up with anything now, then maybe you all maybe the party is still trying to sort out a party name. But let's talk about it for a minute. What ideas do we have?
My initial idea is the poor life decisions. It seems to be appropriate description overall.
PLD, perhaps.
PLD. Okay, excellent. Toss out some other ideas. Anybody who's got them. We'll sort of get a collection going.
So, we didn't use the Baby Blues for our name yet. For perhaps the Baby Blues.
Okay, so we got the poor life decisions. We got the Baby Blues.
I would point out that I am the only one of the party that is in fact blue.
The eponymous member.
Oh my god, we're Technicolor.
Oh, that feels like a way in.
Yeah.
We can. This is just an idea. because of our technicolor nature, that all of us do represent a certain hue of color across this gigantic light spectrum, how about we call ourselves Captain Julius and his Technicolor Dream Band?
Oh my god.
I
We
am
can
green.
workshop that name.
Let's maybe just cut it down to the Technicolor Dream Band.
Of
Just-
course.
I love this. Okay, so here's what I think. I think we have these 3 ideas, and I think exactly what is happening now is happening in game with the characters. I think you all
Yep.
are. I think the decision has not been reached yet, and we'll check in as we go and see how things are feeling. And I shudder to do this, but you know. If chat has any suggestions as we go on, I
Yes.
would
Oh,
hate
yes.
to see them. No promises, but I wouldn't hate to see ideas as we learn more about our friends and our characters here in Avernus. For if you all have suggestions for the name of their warband, to toss that in. All right, where are my notes about what we're supposed to talk about? We talked about Avernus being miserable and the food being bad. Oh, okay. Anything else that you all would like to cover about your characters, your relationships, the war band, the war machine, anything else at all before I get to this next bit?
I think we established in chat beforehand, but maybe we want to say it while people are watching.
Definitely.
There is an ongoing tension about powering of this thing.
Yes,
it runs on
thank
soul
you.
coins,
Yeah.
and it destroys the soul if you run it the full amount of time that you plug it in there. And even if the souls are evil, that's unpleasant. That is not okay. But I think Scribbler has sort of gotten to a point where he understands that something must be done, but he does firmly hold that we should check out the coins we're using beforehand and seeing if there's a good soul inside. If there is, we don't use it.
Definitely. I will also say that at this point, based on the timeline that you all have rolled out about meeting and finding things, I think actually that this issue still is in the realm of the theoretical. I think when you found this war machine, within days, right? I think this is a fairly new acquisition for you all. And so far, you have not needed to fuel it. It was fueled with a pretty powerful soul coin when you had it. And so we'll say that you got it, 2 days ago. And it had fuel at the time for 3 days. So you've still got a whole 24 hours worth of fuel before this actually becomes it goes from the theoretical to the actual, right? But yeah, absolutely. This is an important thing that's about to be very important for you all to discuss.
Well, if we got it at 3/4 of a tank, we should return it to 3/4 of a tank before we get it back. Yeah, that's
Them's the
just
rules.
etiquette.
That's the
That's
rules.
just etiquette. Yes.
We're returning it?
We are talking about souls.
We painted
Right,
our name on
yes.
it and everything. Why would we?
We're not talking about lamp oil. We're actually talking about souls.
Well,
Well,
Right,
it
yes.
depends on where you go in the world, because some places actually make lamp oil out of rendered fat from, sentient beings.
Evie brings up a wonderful point there.
We could actually be talking about lamp oil.
Yeah, no, Evie brings up a wonderful point. Technically, there are places in the world that kill pigs, turn their fat into lamp oil. Technically, we are doing the same thing. However, we are taking the life essence and human fuel of the spirits and turning into fuel for our precious blue child.
No, this is not the same. If you were to kill someone and render them,
I've done a lot of that.
Render the fat down.
Have you done much of that second part, though?
The actual soul is not actually destroyed in that process. We are destroying souls, removing them from any possibility of redemption. We're removing them from any possibility of being, as some systems I've read about, being reborn. There is nothing. We are creating a problem.
So answer me this. If they're in this coin, yes, can they be taken out of this coin?
Yes.
Yes.
How did they get here in the first place?
Well, they went to hell, right?
Exactly. If they
Some of
wound up
them
in
got-
hell,
Some of them
Oh,
ended up.
oh,
being
but we
to
went to
hell.
hell.
They made.
But we went to hell.
Not
Thank
if their
you.
correct way.
soul, hold on now, if their soul wound up in hell,
Hey, thanks for the follow, Elven Wizard King.
who's to say?
Well, I mean, we can verify the condition of the soul. I think I would need to examine them more closely, but I believe we can examine the condition of the soul. Some people some good people in desperate circumstances make deals with devils and their souls come down here. Do you want to,
Right.
do you want to do harm to a good person who just happened to end up in a desperate situation?
I mean, if you give me a little bit of time, I'll be able to see if they're. I might be able to see if they're good or not.
That's what I was about to bring up. Between you, Scribbler, and Charity, you both have, I'm certain, ways to figure out how much soul is left in the coin, if the soul is good or bad, and then perhaps we run the soul until it's down to the last little bits, and then pull it right out and take care of it.
I would be not. I would not object to freeing the soul before it is completely expended. Certainly.
Wonderful.
That's
Yes.
such a waste of fuel. I
I'm
mean,
gonna have to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works there, just because. And at this point, if we're like actually at the war machine, just like kind of poke the slit that you put the coin. It goes straight down into the furnace.
Yeah, Imba, will you do me a favor? And whether or not you bring this up or come to Evie's side on this, that's fine. But oh, look, we're gonna do another dice roll. Imba, would you make
Yay.
me a? Oh, I should have had your your character sheet up. How are you at intelligence investigation checks?
Oh,
It feels like it might be your thing.
it is.
Okay, great. So make me an intelligence investigation check.
Funny thing, I prepared for D&D, got everything ready to go.
I
and
do that
my
all the
dice-
time. Don't feel
my
bad.
dice are in
I
the
do
other
it
room.
all the time, particularly when I'm recording my podcast. We'll be like, we'll do the intro, we're doing the thing, and then I'm like, oh, guys, I don't
Nice.
have dice.
I'm never far from my dice bag.
Well, that's why I now have permanently my lovely little parting gift from D&D Live, and it never leaves my little
Ooh.
broadcasting studio.
Flex.
my housemates and I have a jar that you can see directly behind me. It is chock full
Yes,
of some
I love
chunky
that.
boys.
I made it.
While Dobbs is grabbing their dice, I want to really quickly go over a couple of things that I realize we all know, but maybe the viewers don't. First of all, this is a soul coin. It is the currency of hell. There we go. We're not going to talk about who's in this one because it's none of your business. These are the currency of hell. They, as you've probably figured out, they contain souls. To carry them, just to carry them, takes a toll on non-evil individuals. And in fact, there is a limit to how many you can carry without just being so overwhelmed by the rage and fear and despair that these things contain, which, is totally fine for charity. But
You can, of course, give to charity. It's always an option.
they are, as you can see, about 5 inches across. They each weigh about 1/3 of a pound, and they contain a soul. There are a few things that you can do with them, and I feel like over the course of your time here in Avernus, you all have figured out what you can do with them. They have 3 charges when they are originally minted, and you can use charges to gain some temporary hit points. You can ask the soul inside a question, and it has to answer you truthfully and to the best of its ability, but its answer, of course, is dependent upon what the person that is inside the coin knew in life. And they can be used to power war machines, which we'll talk about in just a minute as once we find out how much Imba has figured out about this. There are ways to free the souls, which I have no doubt Scribbler has done his best to investigate since he got here. Destroying the coin is, in fact, enough to free the soul, although it's a little tricky to do. And in fact, you haven't, I don't know how much experimentation you've done, but aside from losing them in the furnace of the war machine, you haven't yet figured out a way to actually destroy one. But it seems that would be a way to free the soul. Scribbler, why don't you make me an intelligence arcana check to see if you figured out this other way to free the soul? And Imba, once you've made that intelligence investigation check, let me know.
Let's see. That's actually pretty good. What's my bonus? I think I probably got it. 17 plus 7, so 24.
Okay, so you definitely have also figured out that it is in fact possible to free the soul with a fairly simple, relatively speaking, spell. Anything that would remove a curse can free the soul trapped in a soul coin.
Nice.
Obviously, it destroys the coin. Any remaining charges are gone. It becomes useless. But that is a way to free the soul from a coin. Imba?
All right, so that will be a 14. I didn't roll too great.
No, but that's enough to at least have figured out that as far as you can tell, once a coin goes into the furnace to power the machine, and I think the reason it's a 14, right? The reason that you're not absolutely certain of this is because you all haven't yet fed one yourselves to the furnace. But as far as you can tell, there's no retrieval method from the furnace, right? There's no sort of pan that you can take out to remove the whatever's left of inside the furnace. You certainly don't want to reach your hand in the furnace. So Imba, as far as you're aware, once you have committed a coin to the furnace of a war machine, it's done.
So we have to find a way to tell if the soul is good or bad. If the soul is in hell, they probably are very bad. However, Scribbler brings a very good point. There are probably people down here who have done things to end up themselves down here against their will. So we, ask them.
But wouldn't that waste a charge for fuel if we ask every single one? And who's to say that the evil ones wouldn't lie to you and say, of course I was good, spare me?
Oh, no, I would lie right off the bat.
Exactly.
Well, to be fair, they actually can't lie if you query the coin using a charge. They are compelled to answer you truthfully and to the best of their ability.
Well, if you were asking me if I was evil, of course my answer would be, no, I'm just doing what I think is right.
But that would be prevarication on your part.
Evil is in the eye. Exactly. Of course I'm not. Evil is in the eye of whoever is casting the question.
I think this is a fantastic line of questioning. Dobbs and Evie, do you two have any feelings on this? Have you weighed in to this discussion, which has undoubtedly been going on for a while now?
I mean, Evie's only input is really that, if they were kind of a dickhead, I mean...
I just love her. I love all of you. I really do. Imba, any strong feelings?
That would be Evie's
Same
only
boat.
input.
If they were a dick, no one noticed them.
But you're
I mean,
okay
I would not want to be in the coin, but
No, but you're not a dickhead.
Right. See,
But
I
you
would
would
happily
be okay
wind up
with
in one of these
checking to make
coins.
sure that they are.
Oh,
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, all right.
I might have wound up in one of these coins in a past life.
Yeah.
Past
life.
There's still time.
Time.
I have a bit of an idea. Have we ever tried piercing one of the coins and threading it with some sort of thin...
Oh,
I
have done that many times.
I
yes.
pulled this trick all the time. I would leave a coin out and then I'd... pull it
Charity.
back and
Like a penny slot.
Charity,
Oh my
didn't
God.
we do that same? Didn't we do the same ruse when we were trying to sail the ferry across the way? We just only had one coin between us.
exactly.
I am
just
not the
wish to admit
artificer that Imba is, but I believe the actual engine runs on the soul inside. So if you're in fact putting a coin in and pulling it out before the soul is consumed, then we don't go anywhere.
Oh well, that's why we keep you around. You got to correct us of these wrongs.
that. Okay, that's fair.
I can
Scribbler's
just
more than
picture
just a pretty face.
Charity and the captain sitting there at the top of this war machine, trying to get it to run and pulling this coin out repeatedly, and it's just not moving. For just hours.
Oh,
You know-
no.
Like it spurts.
Falcon are bald, to be clear, completely hairless, unlike me, obviously. But yeah, after dealing with you two for long enough, he probably slaps his head enough that if he had any hair, it'd be gone.
Man, how many stupid people must it have taken for you to be ripping your hair out?
Just it's a constant state of Picard.
Yes. Yes. So good. I love it. All right. So this is, as I said, we've still got you've got another day, and that's only that's a day assuming that you run the machine the whole time, right? I should say you've got 24 hours of traveling in the machine before the problem comes to a head. So this, I think, is a great start about this conversation. It's definitely something to continue to talk about as we get forward, and eventually it's going to come to a head, but we're not quite there yet. The only other thing that I want to establish is just how many soul coins do you all as a party have access to? Here's a question. Is anyone other than Charity carrying soul coins? I will tell you that to hold, and this is again, because so much of this writing is just really beautifully done, I'm just going to read this right out of the book. To hold a soul coin is to feel the soul bound within it, overcome with rage or fraught with despair. If you, so you can carry, mechanically speaking, a non-evil character can carry a number of soul coins equal to or less than its constitution modifier. If you carry more than that, the rage and the despair of the souls inside are overwhelming, and you end up with disadvantage on basically any d20 roll you make at any point ever. So are any of you carrying any soul coins aside from Charity?
Julius would not be holding a single soul coin because there was probably a time he took one and he just felt miserable.
Hated it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he hated it.
Absolutely.
Like he loves money, but he doesn't like this money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Evie probably had a similar situation where she picked one up and just went, nope, don't like that, and handed it off to Charity.
Totally. Imba, you carrying any?
So I figured with her being in Avernus for 3 months, she definitely has come across one, like maybe one.
Sure.
You know what? Let me leave it up to a dice roll to see if she
absolutely.
still has it.
Absolutely.
Even she has it, odd she doesn't. Even she has one.
Okay, so she is carrying one. And Scribbler?
So Scribbler probably acquired one at some point, determined its nature, did some basic experimentation just to see what would be required, memorized remove curse, and destroyed it.
Great. I love that. So yeah, absolutely. You have okay, here's a good question. So since you have actually done that and experienced what it is like to destroy this coin, so you cast remove curse on it. The coin itself rusted and sort of crumbled after that, and I'm not sure if Scribbler would know this, but if you did that, was the soul inside a good soul or a bad soul? Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
He would have expended a charge to find out.
Sure.
He would have asked, to tell me about your life.
Sure.
Does it have to be a yes or no question, or
It does not indicate that it does. No. Yeah. So you can.
But
ask
yeah, he would. Yeah.
Oh, it says the answer is no more than a sentence or two and might be cryptic. So a brief version of your life.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But whether it was good or bad, he would still destroy it.
Sure. Great.
So.
Okay. I love that. Okay.
I have a question.
I have maybe an answer. I don't know. We'll see.
How are soul coins acquired here?
Oh,
So
Are
they
there
are
means of
they are the
getting them?
currency of the Nine Hells. They're bartered, they're traded, they are used as payment. They are rewards for faithful services rendered. So Charity, you obviously have no mechanical problem carrying them. So I imagine that you have some on your person. Yes.
So he loves company.
Absolutely. Why don't you roll me percentile, please? A D100, and we'll figure out how many you have. It's not going to be a ton, and there's some reasons for that, but we'll get to those in a moment.
I
What'd you
rolled
get?
a 95.
Oh, okay, so you've got 3, uh, which is not bad. Not bad.
Well,
Well, right. Good. Yes, you're right. I'm gonna really have to watch my language for things like that. So you've got 3 of
Could
them.
be.
And just for some background, how did you acquire one of them? We don't need to know about all 3, but how did you acquire one of them?
So I figure that perhaps one of them was on the ship that we commandeered. It was probably with the baby blue.
Oh, I love
the
that.
bluebird.
Yeah, absolutely.
Apologies.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was just like, ooh, oh, that sounds fun. And then just slipped
Totally.
it into my coin pouch that I normally keep on my side.
Totally. I love that. Great. So
Now,
yeah, go ahead.
so then just to get this aligned, I guess the other 2 came from our other 2 party members who did not want them. They would have just and that's how I would have acquired the other 2.
Sounds like it. Great. Oh, that's nice and neat and clean. You all are so good at segueing for each other. I love it. Okay, great. So that sort of establishes where what the party dynamic is, who you all are at this point. A few things. So, as many of our viewers may have discerned, we are not running the full Descent into Avernus book. The full book begins in Faerun on the Prime Material Plane in the city of Baldur's Gate with first level characters. We have 12 weeks, and this is a showcase of some of the cooler, in my opinion, aspects of the book. So I really love the Baldur's Gate chapter. I love the El Turel chapter, but we are going to be moving past all of that and diving in. Our intrepid adventurers are currently 7th level. They have been in Avernus for, various numbers of months, as you all have laid out. And at this point, the way that we're going to sort of tie this in, well, there's a couple of ways that we're going to tie this into the story, but bringing us finally into something other than the appendices of the book, about the same time as you all acquired the war machine, so just a couple of days ago, there was a very strange occurrence. In the sky above Avernus, sort of directly above one particular bend in the river Styx, there suddenly appeared what looked like a giant earth moat, or actually I suppose 2 earth moats because it's split in twain, an earth moat upon which appeared to sit a city that, after journeying from wherever it was from into Avernus, is looking a little worse for wear. And you saw that the earth moat is connected by these enormous infernal chains. And the chains have ever so slowly been drawing this earth moat and the city on top of it inexorably down towards the river Styx. It's still got quite a while before it makes it all the way down. But you have seen this happening. And I've just brought up an image of it, which I will. Oh, now I'm going to share for you all in the Zoom chat because that's what we discussed. But you've seen it just descending ever so slowly. No one's really quite sure, at least no one that you've spoken to is really quite sure where it came from, why it is there, what it means that it's there. Apparently I cannot do that, so I'm going to put it in Discord for us because apparently I can't share images on Zoom chat. Would have been nice for me to have checked that out beforehand.
It's pretty.
There we go. It is in the Discord channel now for you all, and viewers can see it on screen.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Tasty.
Yes. So you can see all of those things along the shores, the cliffs on the shores of the River Styx. All of those are docking stations for these flying fortresses that the devils, and in particular the lead devil, the archdevil of Avernus, Zariel, use to dock their flying fortresses, to repair them, to refuel them, to do whatever it is they need to do. And you can see that the city there on the moat is being drawn inexorably down towards the River Styx. I want to really quickly say, out of game, I want to really quickly thank the amazing artists and Wizards of the Coast. All of the art that we're going to be using and that I'm putting up, which is going to include some creature art and some just art plates from the book. All of them are from the Descent into Avernus book. They are beautiful. I will share, on the break, I'll try and get some artist names for you all, because I want to give credit where it's due. But thank you to Wizards and to those beautiful artists, Emi Kanji, who I believe is their art director. Just really beautiful job on some of this stuff, and I'm going to be putting up as much of it as I can because it's worth sharing. Cool. So that was an event that happened. Yes, Scribbler.
So McCoy.
Okay. Yes.
Kind of knows what this is.
Mm.
Would it be possible for Scribbler to make a check to see that he knows what this is?
Yes, I would like anyone who spent any significant amount of time on the Sword Coast in Faerun, and Scribbler, that will count for you after your little jaunt over there after Imba's accident, to make an intelligence history check, please.
Okay.
Not heinous.
That is a solid 6 from me.
That's such a great not heinous. Okay, a 6 from Julius. Julius has no idea what this is. Charity?
Now, intelligence check. I do have Jack of all trades, which gives me half of my...
So if you're not proficient in history, then you can add half of your proficiency bonus to this roll.
Wonderful. Let me double check this.
In the meantime, Evie, while you're doing that, Charity, Evie, what'd you get? Not so
5.
5. Okay, Scribbler.
I got a 10.
Okay. Possible.
I got a 12.
Okay, so Charity and Scribbler, there is something familiar about the city, and actually more than the city. You'll notice in the art at the very top of the city, there is this dark sphere that is crackling with dark lightning, occasionally sending lances of lightning strikes down onto the city itself. And there is something about a city topped with some sort of magical sphere, but nothing about it is quite matching the various stories that are coming to mind. So at this point, neither of you is exactly sure what this city is. I will say you're both pretty sure that the city has come from Faerun. And I will say that you're fairly certain that you know something about this city, but you can't quite call it to mind at the moment. Which is not to say that, research and investigations can't be done over the course of your time. Sure. But at the moment, when it appeared, it hit something in your memory, but you're not exactly sure.
At the very least, we know that it doesn't belong here.
Absolutely. It was here from the Prime Material Plane, from Faerun, and it definitely, well, I suppose it depends on your perspective, but yes, Scribbler would feel that it does not belong here.
I recognize that giant screaming blue ball in the sky. I think I met them at a party once.
I love it.
You go to a lot of strange parties, Charlie.
I do.
And I also am ashamed that you don't invite me to half of them. But...
Well, I mean, they're exclusives. I'll try and get you in one of them.
I love it. So that happened a few days ago. You have had this infernal war machine. Imba has been investigating it. You've all been having conversations about the ramifications of powering it. You've been doing all of that. And you all are, at your camp, your base of operations, your whatever it is, having conversations. Imba's investigating the machine. And you hear off in the distance, well, I suppose we are in fact playing D&D. So let's have everybody make me wisdom perception checks, and then I'll tell you what you do or do not.
I'm even worse at those.
For the record, I do have a feat that gives me a +5 to my passive.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I should say.
I have that too.
Yes, this is. Oh, Good lord, I'm never going to call for
Nice.
wisdom checks, for perception checks again. So this is a thing that I do in my podcast because I heard Jeremy Crawford talk about it once. It wasn't passive perception is intended that in theory, unless what I usually do is if you're in combat, if there are things that are actively distracting you from sort of being aware of your surroundings, then I will take whatever role you have. But in situations like this, for me, if I call for a wisdom perception check and you roll like crap, your floor is your passive perception. Assuming that there's nothing keeping you from being aware of your surroundings, that's the point of passive perception. It's sort of what your baseline is. So, Julius, what'd you get?
I got a 13.
Okay, and Charity?
19.
Excellent.
Sweet.
Imba?
So Imba rolled a natural 1,
Ooh, yeah.
but my passive perception is 19.
Okay, so this is why we're calling this session 0.5. So this is another thing, and I will leave this up to you all. In my podcast and a lot of games that I run, rules as written, there are no critical successes and critical failures on skill checks, on ability checks, 3.5, ha. I think they're fun. So it's up to you all whether you would like to have crit successes and crit fails on ability checks. If you would like to have them, and this is a terrible time to introduce this mechanic because it's going to affect what just happened. If you would like to have them, then natural ones are another opportunity for your passive perception to fail you. Sorry, Imba. So
I would be okay with that, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly because we're in hell.
absolutely.
Things going badly here go badly.
Right. And I will say, it also opens up the opportunity for things to go remarkably well. Great. I'm happy that that is the decision we've come to. So, Imba, you are shoulder deep in the Infernal War Machine, checking it out and just not aware of what's going on. Evie, what'd you get on your check?
Well, I got like a 7,
Okay,
but my passive is 13.
Okay, great. And last but not least, Scribbler.
I roll a natural 20.
Nice.
Speaking of. All right, so
the duality of our
That's what I was like, sweet. I wish I saved that for like a combat encounter, but
nope, you got it. Okay, so those of you who rolled above a 12 or have above a 12 for your check, you hear rumbling off in the distance, a little closer than you're used to here at your base of operations, but there's noise all the time in Avernus. It doesn't particularly freak you out. Scribbler, however, you hear it and sort of lock into it a little bit, and what you hear is the sound of 3 war machines. It sounds like there's a big one, and then 2 of the slightly rarer, but they definitely are around, 2 of the... Oops. There we go. 2 of the ones that are called Devil's Rides, which are essentially 1-passenger Infernal War bikes. And they are unmistakably...
Oh, I want one.
Of course, Imba doesn't hear this.
Unmistakably coming your way. And we are going to deal with that after the break. We're going to take a little bit of a break here. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you all for hanging out. I'm really loving where this little session 0.5 is going. I think we've learned a lot of really cool things about the party. I think we've established some cool stuff, and we haven't even jumped into the main story yet. I'm loving it. We're going to take a little bit of a 10-minute break. We're going to run a couple of ads during that and also just have some chill time. Please go get some water, hydrate. If it's morning for you, grab a coffee. If it's night for you, grab a beer. And we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. Thank you all for hanging out. Oh, also, if you haven't yet, if you are new to Variant Roles and you haven't yet, click the little follow button, the little heart up at the top of the screen so that you always get notifications when we go live, both for this campaign and for the myriad different games that we run every single week here on Variant Roles. Click that follow button so that you always get notifications. We'll be back in about 10. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you shortly. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for your patience. We are back with Variant Roles presents Saturday Morning D&D in Hell, Descent into Avernus. Except that these folks descended way before we started this campaign, but it's fine. Here we are. As you will recall, our motley, nameless crew of adventurers was hanging around their home base. Their resident goblin tinkerer artificer was trying to work out some of the inner workings of their newly acquired infernal war machine named Bluebird, when Scribbler heard 3 machines coming their way at a rapid clip. 2 of the small infernal war bikes called Devil's Rides, and a larger one coming their way. And so we hop back into this moment, and what are you all doing?
I am actually going to say, Captain, we appear to be approached by a group of ne'er-do-wells traveling along the plains. It is possible they intend us violence.
Well, a lot of things will intend us violence in this area, but sounds like
More
a Tuesday
so
for
than
us.
The usual.
Oh, yeah, I guess
like
more so than usual, I suppose.
Evie's
tuning
probably
my
knocking on the tank of the stick sprayer, knocking on it. Go, I reckon it's full. It sounds full. I reckon it's full. Does that, Imra, does it sound full to you? I reckon it's full.
Don't tap it too hard, but yeah, I think it's good.
I think it's fine. But if things are bringing us harm and want to bring us bodily harm and break our bones and do whatever they want with them afterwards, I think we should retaliate. Battle stations, everyone.
Who's doing what with my bones?
A what?
Oh, Evie. All right.
Imba, come on up.
We've had the call to battle stations. Now, the way that these infernal war machines work is that everyone can take a station on the machine if we're going to be entering combat or even just driving around in the machine. Someone has to be in the helm to drive the dang thing. It won't move if it doesn't have a driver.
Captain.
Oh, that's me.
Got it. Each of the weapon stations, so that's 1 harpoon and 1 river Styx, I don't remember what it's called now, but the Styx water sprayer, need to be manned, as well as, in this case, the grappling claw can also be a manned station. Outside of that, the rest of the characters are either passengers in the machine or are... It does give the option for clinging onto the outside of the war machine, which is really how you know that they were really just leaning in heavy on the Mad Max. So, we've already established that Captain Julius, is in the helm. Where are the rest of you? Where are the rest of you?
Can I have the claw? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest Imber on the claw.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
Imba is on the grappling claw. Fantastic. How about you?
Totally.
Evie?
Either the one of the weapons. I don't mind which one.
Okay, we'll come back
One
to
of the
that then and
weapons.
see. Charity, where are you?
I would like to think that Charity is just having a grand old time, really Mad Maxing it out. Just lyre in hand,
On the
just
outside. I love
playing
everything
us
about
a
it.
sick
Doof
tune.
warrior.
Fantastic.
Just like 1 foot up on the back end, just like having a time.
Scribbler, how about you?
Probably up near the helm, just not actually manning a thing,
Okay.
preparing for spell casting instead.
Perfect. And so
Okay,
Evie, looks
so
like you
Evie
can
will
have
probably
your
bounce
choice.
between the two then.
Okay.
Probably on the harpoons, the vast majority of the time, but I might switch, like I might jump over to the other one I might jump over to the stick sprayer if that looks like it might be a good choice.
Great. That's totally fine. And since, for the most part, if you all are remaining in or on the war machine, you won't need to be using your moves. Only Captain Julius will have any sort of movement components to their turn, so that's fine. Evie, you can use your move on your turn to hop back and forth between stations. That's no problem. Okay. So you are in battle stations, and I suppose we should roll initiative.
Ha ha ha. Ooh,
I'm not gonna roll with that
so
dice.
bad.
That dice sucks.
That,
It's going so well so far, I can tell. I love it. Okay,
That
so
was
give me
real
one
close to being real bad.
Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna pop in the bikes and the okay, and the other thing that I'm not going to name because it's none of your business yet. Okay, Julius, Captain Julius, what'd you get?
13.
Okay. And how about you? Oh my God, I've just forgotten all of your names. Charity.
A dirty 20.
All right. How about you, Imba?
22.
22. Excellent. Y'all are ready for this, Evie.
18.
All right. Oh man, I thought they rolled well. And Scribbler.
6.
That's entirely my fault. I spoke too soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's everybody.
You want the spellcaster to be batting cleanup, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely you do. So you can see off in the distance, probably at this point, still maybe 200 feet out or so, you can make out billowing up dust as they roll. Oh, I have a new image for this. I forgot. As they roll across the wasteland that is Avernus, you can see that these two bikes and this much larger machine are coming towards you. And so we start with Imba.
All right. As soon as Imba sees one of the bikes,
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
her eyes light up like Christmas tree.
Uh-huh.
She's like, yes, Mama needs one of those.
I yelled down to Imba, like, Imba, save at least one of those or two of those, please.
Oh, I'm gonna try to save both because I am not the one. I must know how they work. I want one so bad.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Okay, are you taking any actions or holding any actions? Readying any actions? Sorry, again. 3
with the claw. They're still pretty far away.
Oh yeah, they're still a ways, about 200 feet, and well, yeah, at this point you would know you've used it enough. Speed of most of these machines is about 100 feet.
Okay, so if it's possible, I'll go ahead and ready because I assume the claw can grab.
Yes, absolutely. So what you'll do is you'll make a weapon attack with the claw, and you're gonna try and grab creatures. So the idea would be that you're trying to grab some of the drivers or whatever the creatures inside the machines.
Okay.
Can we reverse claw Imbra onto?
I am not gonna say no to that because I love it.
I totally
Imba
want
would be
to-
down.
Yes, I'm totally fine if Imbra gets
Just
straight
drop
up
me.
cat o'
I will
nine-tailed
take the
on.
bike from him. Let's do this.
I was about to ask if it swings because, oh boy, a ship sailing barge swinging in on a claw.
Oh my god. This claw is the
Never
best thing
have
that's
given
ever
you the
happened to
grappling
us.
claw.
Everything,
That was the
ever.
first reason why I chose it. You are not going to take this dream from me.
It's like
No,
someone
I would
stole
never
the
dream
claw
of
and
taking it
launched
away
the
from you.
claw.
I love it so much. Okay, so Imba, you are readying the grappling claw, or are we switching decks here?
I'm gonna actually. I don't know if anyone else is free. I'm gonna be like, hey, you Mandis, grab. I'm gonna go into the claw.
The closest two people are probably Evie and Scribbler. So we'll see if either of them is gonna.
And she's like very excited. She's like, yeah, let's do this.
I love it. So you crawl out onto the claw and just try and grab onto it. It'll grab you later, but okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you make me? I will take either strength athletics or dexterity acrobatics to just sort of climb out onto the claw arm of this machine.
I'll do Dex acrobatics.
Okay.
And that's cockamamie. Oh boy.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
That's a solid 9.
Oh. So we haven't yet actually started moving the machine, so it's not like you tumble off and get run over. But I don't think you made it. If you look at the little image of this thing, which unfortunately I don't have ready for the stream, but you can see there's that little arm that goes out and then the claw sort of drops from it. It looks a bit like a claw machine game, right? So you're part of the way out on that first arm and just sort of yes, exactly, just like hanging on for dear life. It didn't go great. So you're holding on there. And we'll see sort of where that goes next. In the meantime, anything else, Imba, for you?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, in the meantime, then, next up, we see the larger of the two war machines come barreling towards you all at full speed, closing the distance by about half. And so you are within now 100 feet of this larger machine. You can begin to see some of the details of this machine. It's definitely smaller than yours, but still oh, no, it's about the same size as yours, it appears. Yeah, it's about the same size as yours, larger than the bikes. And in the front of it, are these horrible-looking, sort of scooped, clawed. It almost looks like a dump truck front. And on the wheels, you can see the just gleaming in the light of the Avernian sky are these wicked-looking blades, these scythes attached to the wheels of this thing, spinning menacingly as it comes towards you. Next up is Charity. Evie is on deck.
You said my favorite word, within 100 feet.
Oh, God.
I was going to say, that's spellcasting.
I'm
That's
gonna
spellcasting range.
just
That's
line up
specific
and
favorite word.
pop off 2 Eldritch Blasts over
Okay.
at the wheels.
So you're targeting the wheels of this larger machine.
Yes,
Okay.
the front right wheel. Let's
Okay,
say.
do it. So make that attack roll. While motionless. Well, it's not motionless, so that's its armor class.
19. Like on the die, 19 and 15 plus my spell attack. Let's see. Oh, for my warlock, that's a +8.
Okay.
So
So
27 and 23.
So both of those blasts are going to hit this war machine as it comes barreling towards you. What color are your Eldritch Blasts? What do they look like?
So they kind of streak from a blue like my hair out to like the gold flecks that leave behind them, like my skin. It's like a and then in the trail of it, just red.
I love
Just a
that.
streak of red.
All right, so they both go barreling towards this thing, and go ahead and roll damage for me.
That is 9 and 4.
9 and
So
4.
13 force damage.
So what you notice, and you all probably had an idea about this as you inspected your own machine, the plating on these things is pretty sturdy, and not only does it take a good hit, a well-placed attack to do some damage to these machines, but there also has to be enough force behind the attack to really sort of do any damage. Mechanically, these machines have damage thresholds. And so both of your blasts hit exactly where you wanted to place them, but as the flare of your Eldritch Blast clears, you see that it doesn't look like they left a mark.
Yes. I love that.
Anything else, Charity?
You know what? Let me see, because I might have a bonus action that I might be able to do.
All right, Evie, you are on deck.
Let's see how long of a range that is. So they're within 100 feet, you said?
They are yes, they are exactly 100 feet from you.
Tartar sauce. That means that they're not 90 feet away.
Correct.
I am going
Yes,
to...
That's how math works.
Good math. Just numbers. Just straight up numbers.
I am going to bardically inspire
Okay.
Evie. So I'll just have been like, I'll shoot off a blast and then I'll like strike a chord on the lyre.
Yes.
And
We're really leaning into this Mad Max.
oh,
love it.
absolutely.
Yes.
I love it.
And just bear witness.
And if I'm not mistaken, you are College of Whispers, which means that the inspiration is just for attack rolls, ability checks, and right? Are saving throws included in there?
I believe so.
Played a bard
Let me
in a
double
while.
check that.
Okay. While
Yeah,
you double
no,
check
the-
that, Evie, it is your turn.
Okay. First things first. Evie has a series of runes inscribed on her sword.
Yeah, she does.
Her great big sword. And the first thing I'm gonna do is she mutters something under her breath, and one of the runes on her sword flares so bright you can see it through the scabbard.
I love that.
So I am invoking the Uvar rune.
Okay.
And entering a prophetic state. You can see her eyes
Oh.
kind of glaze a little bit, go a little bit cloudy, as I have entered a prophetic state. And until the state ends, 1 minute, when I or another creature I can see within 60 feet of me makes an attack roll, saving throw, or ability check, I can use my reaction to cause the roll to have advantage or disadvantage.
Our viewers
So that is the
will note
first
that this
thing.
is perhaps a feature that you are unfamiliar with. We have several of our characters, several of our players are playing characters that are making use of some of the recent Unearthed Arcana subclass releases.
Yee.
So we have a Rune Knight, and we'll see a couple of others as we go. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
Cameo, as a point,
Tell me.
that
Oh, yes.
bardic inspiration is a d6 that you can
Thank you.
use on ability checks, attacks, or saving throws.
There you go. Saving throws is included. Thank you.
Love it.
All right,
Excellent.
so you have that. You have invoked the Uvar rune and entered the prophetic state. That's a bonus action, right,
Yep.
to invoke?
That is my bonus action. I'm going to
Great.
use some of my movement to climb up onto the war machine and dart over to the claw.
Yes.
I am answering Imbra's call, and I'm going to operate the claw.
Great.
Ah.
I'm going to say that as she wants to be grabbed by it, we don't. Well, just for funsies, go ahead and make an attack roll with the grappling claw just to see if you crit fail.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna use my No, I'm not gonna use my reaction because I might need that for somebody else later in the turn order.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a crit success.
Oh,
that is a 20.
geez,
That's 20.
Okay. So all right, in that case, so you grab her. So just as Imba is about to lose her grip on the arm, the claw snatches her up and sort of swings her out towards the oncoming machine. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
Imba's laughing. Imba's laughing. She's like,
Chaos Grandma.
Yes, and as that's happening,
exactly
Chaos
what
Nana,
she is.
Chaos Nana,
Chaos Nana.
and as it's happening, Evie's gonna be like working the switches for this. Turns around to look at the machine hurtling towards us, and just yells out, "Come and get us!"
Yes. And the bikes are up after you, and they do just that. These things are much smaller, but definitely a little bit swifter, and they put on a burst of speed and race towards you. And actually, so one of them gets up and gets a little bit further than the larger machine, so it's now within 80 feet of you. The other, just because I love these mechanics, and this is a fun opportunity to experiment with them without killing you all, the other one, you can just barely make out its driver turns around and looks like it's pouring something or messing with something on the back of the bike. And here we go. On a one. Okay, great. And it hurtles towards you even faster than the other bike and gets to within about 50 feet of you, and you can see the exhaust of this bike just belching this black fire that the others don't seem to have activated or something. This driver has done something to his gas tank, and this bike has roared ahead. Little Nox boost. All right, that is as far as they are going to get. So next up we have Captain Julius and Scribbler. You're on deck.
Okay, so how big are these hell cycles?
So your machine is a huge machine, which is about the same size as the big one. The cycles, the hell cycles, are large vehicles, so they're one size category smaller. So they're bigger than normal motorcycles, but they're not sort of these enormous things. It looks like they really only fit one person, one driver, passenger, whatever on them.
And how far away is the closest one to us?
50 feet.
Okay. I look over at Imba. I go, Imba, you only want one of them, right?
Yes.
Okay. I rev the engine using my bonus action. I power on the war machine.
Yes.
And I turn and I just steer towards one of the bikes.
Oh,
and
God.
I'm going to use the full 100 feet to run straight through the bike.
Okay.
My bike! That was mine!
Sacrifices must be
okay.
made for charity.
Otherwise,
Because of the
Oh, the
ability
scavenger
to
can
crush
move through
wheels.
the space. Okay, yeah. The scavenger can move through the space of any large or smaller creature when it does. It's a creature.
Oh, yes, I
It's-
should
that
have
says
perhaps
creature,
read your
but-
machine stat blocks. Okay, so you're using the crushing wheels features of the scavenger, which means it does say creature, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and do it with this vehicle.
I mean, there's a creature on the vehicle.
It's true. So we're gonna go ahead and there's a dexterity saving throw for this bike. So they're gonna make that.
You know what? And they're gonna do it at disadvantage.
Oh, okay,
Yes!
that's good because that was not a bad roll. That is better. That is and the rider has that, so that's an 11, and he needed a 12 to move out of the way. So you just roll over this thing. Go ahead and roll me 3d10 bludgeoning damage, and it will
3d10?
knock the bike over. Yes, 3d10.
Hot dang.
My bike.
Oh, so that is 11 points of bludgeoning damage.
And that is enough to where is it? That is enough to overcome the damage threshold, and this bike just gets, rolled over by your.
As I go past, I look down at the driver and I kind of do like the angry Luigi look at it and I just go.
If a devil. It can't ride itself. Okay. And the devil that was riding on the back of it, which you can see now, looks like a I get them confused. A barbed devil. Falls off, and the bike is prone, and it's just a whole mess. Anything else for Captain Julius on your turn?
That's all I can do.
was
And I
plenty.
just look at Imba and I said, we have one more left, so make this one count.
All right, Scribbler, we are up to you.
All
Imba,
right.
you're on deck.
So, looking over at the other bike that is still up, correct?
Correct.
And it's near us.
That is correct.
So it's within 60 feet. Yes.
It is currently 80 feet out. Oh, no,
Okay.
you moved. You moved up 50 feet. So, yes, it's 30 feet.
Okay. In that case, I concentrate on it for a moment, spend my bonus action,
Oh, boy.
and it needs to make the driver needs to make a wisdom save or tell me its name.
Oh, okay. So this barb devil that has just fallen off this bike is not looking so hot. It's rather pissed about everything that's happening, and it is going to make a wisdom saving throw and get an 8.
Okay.
And so you know its name, and I don't, so I'm going to find it. Its name is Ictus.
Ictus. Can you put the spelling in?
I sure will.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh.
All right. That's my bonus
If
action.
there's any musicians in the chat right now, they are laughing mightily.
I'm sure they are.
Why was that the first word that came into my mind? It's fine.
And then I will concentrate with my implement. I use a staff as an implement.
Okay, love that. What does the staff look like?
It's sort of ornately carved with symbols from Ravnica, actually. The sort of circle with a triangle in the middle, symbol of the Azorius Senate.
Learn
it
more
gl-
about our friend.
It glows blue as he stamps it down and says aloud, make sure I'm getting it. Evangeline Flint, fate has gone your way.
Ooh.
Bless to her and to Charity and to the captain.
Yes.
Don't
So
bring
you
him
get
the
to.
Feel in this-
Charity. I love
Oh,
it.
no.
But it gives you a D4 that you can add to a D20 roll
Okay.
for the next minute.
Okay.
So you can
Got my
you can just keep
D6.
doing it.
D4.
But that's a free cast for me. So you know.
Yes, I love that. Love that true name. All right. So as you may have noticed, Scribbler, our friend, is playing an Onomancer, another one of the Unearthed Arcana releases of recent days. Anything else on your turn, Scribbler?
I believe that will be it. I
All
don't have
right.
anywhere to go, so...
Right. So we get to the bottom of the round. We see this large machine with the spiked wheels still about 50 feet out from where our party is at the moment. We see one of the bikes prone on the ground, a bit torn up, and a barbed devil lying next to it, angry about what's happening. We've got Imba in the claw of the grappling hook, ready to take a bike for herself. We have Charity playing their lyre out on the front, and the rest of the station's man, Scribbler, wielding his staff. And we are back up to the top of the round with Imba.
All right. So, how far away is this bike laying on the ground?
The one that's laying on the ground is basically right next to you guys.
Oh, I'm gonna try to jump onto it. Like, it's probably still going. Like, the engine's still running, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh
Its
yeah, I'm
wheels
gonna
are just
try
sort
to.
of spinning. Okay, so you're currently well, let's see.
the
You're
bike-
What's that?
Is the bike prone?
The bike is prone, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So you're currently in the grip of the grappling hook, Imba. So you can try and escape the grapple, or you can hang out until your friend Evie uses a bonus action to release you from the hook. It's up to you.
All right. So I'm gonna look at Evie. I'm gonna be like, position me for that bike.
There you
go. Let's see. I don't want to. Can I hold my action for her to drop me?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'll do that then.
Teamwork.
Okay,
Teamwork
and
makes the dream
what action
work.
are you
Teamwork makes the
holding?
dream work.
I'm basically gonna try to jump on the bike and drive, like just catch back up with the just straight up steal the bike from the barb devil and just or
I love it.
jump on it and drive off,
I
like with our big machine,
Love it.
but basically just
Okay,
jump on
so
it.
that is your held action, and it's fantastic. Coming up next is the big machine. So the big machine is going to close the distance to you now, and having absolutely no concern for the barbed devil and the bike in its path. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Having no concern for that, it is going to try and sideswipe your machine with its scythed wheels. So
At
first,
disadvantage.
Dude.
at disadvantage. First, it is going, however, to... Wait, didn't you already give disadvantage to the bikes this round?
Top of the turn.
Doesn't it?
It's
I
top
think
of the round.
It's got to come to your turn.
your
Yeah,
turn.
your reaction
Top of the
resets
turn.
Was it on my
your
turn?
Yeah.
Mother. Yeah,
That's
right.
okay, because we're gonna... It's actually... it also doesn't have to make a attack roll.
Yeah,
you all have to
yeah,
make a
yeah.
saving throw, so...
Oh, okay. That's fine then.
In any case, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to probably run right by the bike and the barb devil, so we're going to have them... the bike is going to automatically fail its save because it doesn't have a driver. The barbed devil is going to actually make its save. Creature from another way takes no damage, so the barbed devil manages to roll, sees the tormentor coming, the big machine coming, lets out a shriek of terror, and rolls out of the way of it. Unfortunately, the bike does get sideswiped. Where are my d10s? Here we go.
Oh no.
No. Oh no.
Imba's looking horrified.
Our bike.
And it does take some damage. The bike is looking in bad shape, but it is still in one piece, and you can hear the whir of its infernal engine still running, so it has not been destroyed beyond repair yet. Now, Captain Julius, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw. You're going to use the
dexterity
scavenger's dexterity, which is at a +1. Do you have proficiency in land vehicles?
I have proficiency in sea vehicles.
Interesting. You've had a day with this. I will give you, because I'm feeling generous, I'll give you half your proficiency.
Thank you.
With land vehicles for this particular machine, so you can add half your
Okay.
proficiency bonus to
Cool.
the dexterity save of the
Rounded
scavenger. Rounded down.
Down?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
So at this level, that's a +3, so it'll be a +1, right?
And I am blessed. Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna. It's a dexterity throw at a dexterity saving throw at a +2, and yes, you are blessed.
Okay.
Plus a d4.
Ooh,
Nice.
crit on the dice.
Ooh.
Plus 2 with the bless. So in total, that is a 28.
So
Woohoo!
nimbly and deftly, Captain Julius is able to swing your scavenger, swing the bluebird around, and just sort of like do a tight little, what do you call it? What do you call it? Mario
Donut?
Kart, where you turn and you yeah, that.
Oh, drift.
A drift.
Oh,
yes,
man,
just
I do
a
multi-tap
tight little
drifting, yes.
drift circle around this large machine, and your bluebird takes no damage from the wheels.
Fast and the Furious
You can
drift.
see now that this machine is close to you, you can see that it looks like, despite its large size and capacity for passengers, it looks like there's only one barbed devil in the helm of this thing. Doesn't look like any of the other stations are manned on this machine. All right, we are up to Charity,
Dang.
and Evie is on deck.
So you could say that we are blue fast and blue furious. I'm going to.
Wow.
Now that we have done the donut, I guess I like kind of gripped to hold on to the rest of the bluebird. And how close are we to this other vehicle?
So the big vehicle and the prone bike are basically right next to you. The other bike is still a little ways out.
Cool. I am going to leap from
Oh
the
my
helm of our
God.
ship
Oh my gosh.
and
Yes!
try and stick a landing. And as I go about, I'm going to summon the blade in my hand.
Oh.
And
Now,
going to try and
which vehicle are you trying to jump onto?
over onto the larger of
The
the
big one.
two.
Oh boy.
The big one.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try and get right up on top of it.
We're gonna
I'm-
have 2 vehicles by the time this is done.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly with the battle cry of "Witness me!"
Yes. Yes.
Imba from the class, like, witness!
KARS cars for me.
I love it. Oh man. All right, Charity. I will take either. You know what? I will take a dexterity acrobatics check to see how this landing goes.
All right, and I get a bless for that. Yes.
You do get a bless for that.
Oop, that was all over the place and awful.
I love it.
Ooh,
Oh no.
Oh.
ooh, not grand.
Okay.
That's a 4 on the die,
Oh.
and then a 4 on the other die.
Okay.
And
Well,
you said acrobatics.
I did.
Another 4. Wonderful. So that's a 12.
Okay, so I don't think you managed to jump directly on the helm. I think Captain Julius's drift move sort of, the centrifugal force of it sort of knocks your aim off a little bit. So you are definitely clinging onto this thing, but it's gonna take some effort to get up to the helm. On your let's see. So your action was to summon the blade. Yeah. So I think that's where we are at this point. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And then, you know what? Can I see the driver?
Yeah, I think so. From where you are, yeah.
Wonderful. So my teal blue eyes just go bright red.
Why do I keep saying yes
And-
to you all?
Because it's so fun.
It's fun,
Because
and
you're
this isn't a
an actor
competitive
and
game,
yes,
and I love this
and.
story. Yes,
And
absolutely.
you've done entirely too
So-
much improv.
That
I'm
too.
going to, with my bonus action, hex this creature
Oh,
with one of my pact slots.
okay.
So those are level 2.
And
currently.
what? Yes. And what ability would you like to hex?
He's going to have disadvantage on dexterity checks.
Okay, dexterity checks it is. Fantastic. So Charity has leapt onto the back of this tormentor, and we are up to Evie.
I just
Okay.
realized where that might be bad.
I was
Oh,
I was
yeah.
hoping you'd have disadvantage on wisdom checks.
Saves and
well.
checks, 2 different things.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Unfortunately. Okay, well, I mean, teamwork makes the dream work. I'm going to try and drop Ember onto the bike.
Absolutely
that she
you
does
are.
so great.
Absolutely, you are. Why don't you go ahead and make an attack with the grappling claw to just sort of find? We'll use that for the aim.
Okie dokie. Yep. Okay. +10 to hit. Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got my bardic inspiration. I might hang on to my bardic inspiration actually.
You've also got your bless.
I know.
Mhm.
Bless
So
and
many
okay, so
good
that's
things.
a 16. It's a 3. It's my upside down dice. 26 29?
Oh yeah, all right. And so you're able, and then you can use your bonus action to release the claw.
To drop.
So you're dropping her on top of the bike or on top of the devil. I don't remember now.
On the bike.
Okay,
Bike,
just making
bike.
sure.
Just bike, definitely bike.
Totally a fair question, I have to say.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
So
but bike.
Imba, you go sailing down and land on top of this prone bike. Now you held an action, so you're gonna need to ride the bike and then drive the bike. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you right the bike without any trouble. You see that it is in fact still running, and you are ready to drive away with this puppy at the earliest opportunity.
Yes.
I'm going to use my movement to get to the harpoon.
Yes, absolutely, I love it. So Charity is on the back of the Tormentor. Imba is now on one of the righted bikes, and we are up to the bikes. Okay, so that barbed devil who just had his bike stolen is not super pleased with the situation. The question is, what are they more concerned about? So I think they're going to run up to you and just try and attack you, Imba. They're going to try and soften you up with the first few attacks, so it's going to swing its claws at you, and the first attack is going to be a 15 to hit you, Imba.
Yeah, 15 is my armor class.
Okay, hold on. There's one thing that I need to check, because I think... Yes, so you are in the helm now of this war bike, which actually grants you half cover. So your AC is increased by 2. So actually, it does not hit you.
Look at
Nice.
that.
All
is
right,
your
but it is
bike.
going to swing again with its tail. This one will hit because that's a 21 to hit.
Oh.
So it is going to claw...
Feisty.
Oops, stay on the table. It is going to claw you for 7 piercing damage. And then it's going to use its third and final attack to try and grapple you, because it's not real pleased with the fact that you have...
Disadvantage.
There it is.
Disadvantage.
Okay,
We're not doing that to Nana.
So
Do not take down our chaos grandma.
Oh no. So Imba, I need you to make a dexterity, acrobatics, or strength athletics. And the Barb Devil is going to make a strength athletics to try and grab you. Devil got an 18. Oh, disadvantage. It did not. Devil got a 6.
Thank God, because my acrobatics was 14.
Okay, well that is enough to keep the devil from grappling Granny. I just can't.
Slippery
The other
grandma.
bike. I don't even know what's happening. The other bike.
Do not grapple Granny.
No, the other bike has no interest in grappling Granny.
Can't handle Nana.
Okay, great. It is going to sort of ride up alongside of the Bluebird, and it's going to send some fire at the Bluebird. It's going to hurl fire at the Bluebird.
Dude.
A couple of times, it seems.
Is it a spell?
It is not. It is an action attack for this creature.
Okay. Just checking.
So the first one is an 11 to hit, which I do not believe hits the AC of the Scavenger by a long shot. The second attack is a 22 to hit, so that one will do.
Yes.
So that is going to be 13 fire damage, and Captain Julius, I will ask that you keep track of your vehicle's HP, if you would.
Will do. So the damage threshold is 10, and it was dealt 13 damage.
Well, yes, except
I'm also
have a look at your vehicle's stats. Yep.
Yeah, I'm also immune to fire. Oh,
correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Which this barbed devil, in its moment of panic, seeing what's going on with the other bike, wasn't super thinking straight.
I looked down at that barbed devil. I said, like, why are you bringing fire to a devil fight?
It
Do
yells
we just
something...
charge through the fireball?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely you do. I love it. All right, next up is Julius.
So I kind of look smug at the barbed devil and try to hit us with fire. But then I lock my eyes back on that big boy that's coming at us. So I would like to try to pilot the our war machine so that my spellcaster right next to me can keep a good eye on the driver the whole time. So
Okay.
because I'm kind of feeling good about my drifting skills here.
yeah, I can see why. Okay, so you're keeping your eye on there, and anything else? Sorry.
That's about it. I'm just like pretty much moving to get close to get like keep a good range with between our craft and the larger craft.
Absolutely. So just marking it. I love it. Next up, bottom of the round, we have Scribbler.
So, with my bonus action, I'm going to try the extract name thing on the driver of the bigger one.
Yeah.
So, as it's close enough, I can say, "Tell me your name."
And it's a wisdom save, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that
DC 15.
That is a 19. So this one, you can feel that this one has, maybe this is why it gets to drive the big boy. It has some stronger mental defenses in place.
Absolutely. And as my action, I am going to, this will be fun. I'm going to cast Magic Missile.
Yes.
At the Barb Devil that's attacking Imba.
Absolutely.
But I'm using my Resonant Utterance. I'm saying its name as I cast.
Oh.
And using Absorption. So I get an... you put the name in the chat, right?
I did,
Ictus.
yes. Ictus.
Okay. It's Ictus Ball. And I am using Disillusion. So I get to add an extra 2d8 force damage on top of all the damage I'm doing from the magic missile. That doesn't miss.
Right, which doesn't miss, so well timed, I must say.
Yeah.
All right, and the devils, unlike their war machines, don't have a damage threshold, so this is going to hurt.
Yes, I'm trying to see what the... All right, magic missiles, 1d4 plus 1.
What level are you casting it at?
I was going to cast it at first level.
So that's 3 darts. So 3d4 plus 3 plus 2d8.
Okay.
Good lord. So these, what color are your magic missiles?
Blue.
Yes, absolutely they are. I should have known that. And they're wreathed with a little extra energy
11.
as they come flying out, and you speak the name of this creature, and they slam into it, 2 into its chest and 1 into its shoulder, sort of spinning it to the side.
So, I did 24 points of damage.
Good lord! With a first level magic missile.
Yes, force damage.
Yes, this thing is just lets out an unearthly shriek and whips its head around to find the source of the missiles.
With my follow-up comment of, "That's my prisoner. Do not harm it."
Oh, that's right. So we reach the bottom of the round. We see Imba and a angry, injured Barb Devil facing off about one of the war bikes. One of the other war bikes has clearly a not totally on top of his shit Barb Devil that's trying to hurl fire at you. And Charity is still clinging on for dear life to the large vehicle as they try and gain control of it. We're at the top of the round with Imba.
So I have a question. Is it an action to power the bike and drive, or is that considered movement?
So it's already powered up, so you don't have to worry about turning it on. In terms of moving it, I believe it just uses your movement in order to actually drive the thing. Oh, nope, that's not true. The driver can use an action to propel the vehicle up to its speed or bring the vehicle to a dead stop.
Okay. So I can't, do something while driving it.
Same speed it did.
I think that's just if it's at a stop, right?
Yes,
so if it's stopped,
correct.
You can use an action to move, but once it's moving, you're all good.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
So we'll take an action to get it started, and then once it's going, you can steer and have your action back.
All right, excellent. So I, take these big goggles that look like they have goggles on goggles, like more lenses, flipped up and down in various orientations back over my eyes, and I probably look hilarious because I'm, a size small goblin in this large. So I probably look like I'm in a chopper, and I just like engines.
Oh my god.
And
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
like, you snooze, you lose, big boy. And I just like speed off towards our bluebird.
Oh
Bless
my
our
God.
chaos granny so much.
Oh man. All right, the devil is going to get an attack of opportunity, but I don't think it's gonna matter. It's gonna try and whip you with its tail as you drive off, for whatever that's worth. That's a 19, which I do think hits your half cover AC, right?
It does.
Okay. So you get a bit of a spike in your back as you drive off, laughing
I'm just like,
maniacally. You take 10 piercing damage, but off you go with this bite. And the barb devil just
Yes.
Oh my god, I love it. I love
Oh my
it.
gosh.
Brandon
Um,
just peels out.
Uh-huh. The big boy is it's the big boy starting. Sorry, I got distracted. And it is going to sort of try and do the same thing it did before. It's going to sort of move and maneuver itself to try and sideswipe you once again with its raking scythes. So I need you to make Captain Julius a dexterity saving throw again at a +2, plus your bless.
Ooh, that is a 18. Oh no, that is a.
It's gonna be fun.
This is a 21.
Yeah, this is fine. So again, you're able to maneuver out of the way. You're keeping pace with it, and you just sort of bring the machine up short this time, so the scythe wheels just sort of pass by right in front of you, and then you restart the machine, and off you go. Next up is Charity. Evie, you're on deck.
Oh,
Oh,
boy, oh
boy.
boy, oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Do me a favor.
So,
make me a
yes.
strength saving throw after that little maneuver that the Tormentor just did.
Thank goodness for bless.
Mm-hmm.
That is not horrible. So 16 plus
Okay.
2 plus a strength save, you said?
I did.
Did you add your
Okay.
D4?
Yes, I did. That was what the +2 was. 16, 17, 18. 19!
Okay, so you are holding on for dear life, and you feel yourself whipped about as the Tormentor circles on the Bluebird, but you manage to latch and keep hold, so go ahead and take your turn.
I am going to careen my way over atop this craft, as it
Mhm.
were. And if I am able to do so, I would like to try and drive this blade into this devil that is driving this.
Absolutely. I will say, normally the helm grants 3/4 cover, but since you're on top of it, we'll just say half cover.
Coolio. And let's see.
Go ahead
All
and
right,
make
that
attack
is
roll.
yeah. Another 16 plus 1, so that's 17 plus. Let's see, rapier is +7,
Good
so that's a
lord.
25 to hit.
Yeah, that'll do.
Cool. So this is my hex blade, my hex weapon. I'm going to pump a bardic
Of
inspiration.
course it's a rapier.
Of course, it's a rapier. I'm going to pump my psychic blades into this,
Ooh.
Nice.
which uses a bardic inspiration to deal 2d6 extra psychic damage
Woo. So already...
on top of
Oh, go ahead.
the hex damage that I'm doing as well, which is
Right.
another d6.
So let's go ahead and really quickly, what does the rapier look like?
So it has a long, thin blade with a beautifully woven basket hilt, and the basket hilt is now carved. Julius, you would recognize this to be the same one that that they weld back on the ship, but now the hilt and the basket guard is all carved with these deep red burning runes.
Yeah, I love it. All right, roll up that many dice worth of damage.
So that is an awful roll. That's 5 plus 6 plus. All right, so let me do this.
That doesn't sound
piercing
so
damage.
bad.
Piercing damage. That's 3 plus what was my attack bonus?
I have you up. I can
So
log-
plus 4.
Yeah.
So that's 7 piercing,
Okay.
That is Hex
Now-
does necrotic damage, yes?
Hex does necrotic damage. Your Hex weapon, are you at a level in which that Hex weapon is now... Or, sorry, your Pact of the Blade weapon, is that magical now? I haven't
Yes.
played a Warlock in a while. It is. Okay, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Yeah.
on.
So that's 2 necrotic damage. And
So
then
7 and 2. Uh-huh.
6 points of psychic damage.
Goo. All right. So this Barb Devil doesn't know whether to grab at its back, at its head, at its... It's just, everything hurts. Everything hurts. It's the subtitle of my memoir. All right.
What's
All
the
right.
title?
Oh, I have no idea what the title is, but I have a document on my phone of a list of fantastic and funny subtitles for my memoir.
Okay.
The leading one currently is "This all sounded so much better in my head."
There's layers to that. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, fantastic. Charity, you have stabbed the driver of this war machine, and we are up to Evie.
I'm gonna. Yep.
If
Oh,
I
sorry.
might.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, no, that does use my bonus action. Never
It
mind.
does,
It is
yes.
done.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
Evie.
I'm gonna help Charity out a little bit. I reckon. I'm gonna fire my harpoon at the Barb Devil.
Yeah, you are. Which Barb Devil?
Oh, the one on the big boy machine.
Yeah, you are. Okay. Now,
Yeah,
from
the
you,
one
that
that
will have
Charity's-
3/4 cover, but
Yeah.
you also have a nice attack bonus, as I
Don't-
recall.
I do, and I could also roll this at advantage if I wanted to.
Yes, and you also have Bless, and you also still
I
have
also
your Bardic
Bless
Inspiration from...
and a
Good
Bardic
Lord.
Inspiration.
If you
I'm
miss...
pumping all of it into this. I am pumping all of that into this roll.
I love it.
So that you don't
What
hit
is
me.
it?
I love it. Thank you.
And it's a plus 6 to
you
hit.
know if she crit failed, she would have hit you.
I
Okay.
knew.
Ooh, so that's a 6 on the Bardic, a 1 on the Bless,
Yes, that's...
and an 18 on my dice.
7, 18
We
is
got you.
25, and then you get a plus
25?
6.
And then it's a plus 6 to hit.
31.
31 to hit with that harpoon.
You could have hit the Tiamat with that.
I think you hit.
No, you did.
think I hit him.
You're
I
good.
think you just nicked it.
You
I
got
think
it.
You nicked it.
You got it.
I got it? Okay. And then am I rolling damage or are we taking average for these?
I like to roll. If we ever feel like we're getting bogged
Okay.
down, we'll run to averages, but I like rolling. I
Gotcha.
like dice.
Yeah, it's 2d8. So I'm gonna roll that. Where's my d8? There's my d8. There's a d8. Let's grab another one. Too many dice and they're all the same color.
And
Where the button- there it is.
if any of you are using ranged weapons on your person, bows and arrows or crossbows or anything like that, I'm not going to worry about ammunition. But I think for the scavenger, I think we will keep track of your harpoons.
12.
Okay.
12.
12. All right.
12.
12 is enough.
13. It's plus 1.
Oh, yes, it is +1. Oh, thank heavens.
13.
So that will overcome the damage threshold, and you manage to stick the harpoon into the side of this tormentor and tear a gash in it. Anything else on your turn, Evie?
Oh, I was aiming for the Barb Devil.
Oh, I'm sorry, you were aiming for the devil. That's right.
Oh,
yeah. I knew that.
Yeah, no. The sentient creature.
13, 28. Yes.
The fighty-
all right.
the fighty thing.
Now it's got a big old harpoon sticking. It just does not know what's happening. It also tries to turn to see who shot at it, but the harpoon like gets caught on the helm and it can't actually turn all the way.
Turns around to see Xavier.
All right, it is the bike's turn. So that Barb Devil that's still on the bike is going to go racing after Imba. Oh, Imba, you got on the bike that had the speed boost, didn't you?
Yep. That was the one that was closest to us.
Do me a favor, Imba. Roll me a d20, please.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You
The
will
one
do this
that
at the
has
start of
psychic
all of your
damage?
turns from now for the next minute.
Okay.
Excellent. Do you just want the straight roll?
I just want the straight number, yeah.
14.
Okay. All that matters is if you ever, for the next minute, if you roll a 1, let me know.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, great. So this other bike tries to take off and head towards you, but obviously it can't keep up because you have this speed boost. The speed of your bike is 150 feet for the next minute. And so this Barb Devil is going to do all it can, and it's a little bit smarter now that it realizes what's happening, and it's going to hurl flame, but it's going to hurl it at you, not at the bike. You do now have your cover, so...
Look, I love Chaos Granny, so that's gonna also happen at disadvantage.
Okay, first attack or second attack?
First attack.
Okay, so that was probably smart because the first one was a 19 on the die and the second one was an 8, so that's a 13 to hit you, which does not hit. The second attack, is an 18 on the die, so that's a 23 to hit you.
That will hit me.
All right.
They got one.
So that is going to be 8, 9 fire damage to you as you get smacked in the back with a small little firebolt from the Barbed Devil. The Barbed Devil that's on the ground is going to take off running towards the big machine, towards the Tormentor, and try and leap on and grab hold of that. So let's see how that goes. Oh, that went well. Okay, so it sort of climbs up, and it's a little ways behind you, Charity, at this point. But it is there, and it is ready for you. All right, that was the bikes. Next up is Captain Julius and Scribbler. You are on deck.
Okay. So is the Barb Devil that's climbing up the back of the big boy machine, is he on the side of it?
For all intents and purposes, yeah, he's on the side on the top. He's outside of it.
Can I steer our craft? Thank you for that reaction, because you have a feeling what I'm going to do. Can I steer the craft so it slams into the Barb Devil?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does. So we're going to treat this like the crushing wheels attribute of the scavenger, though it will be a little bit different. But I'm going to have the Barb Devil go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, that's a 9. Okay, so you slam into the side where this creature is hanging on for dear life. And let's say, so the wheels, the full weight of the machine would give you 3d10. So let's say we'll do this. We'll give you 2d10 for this one.
That is 13.
All right, so this poor devil.
Ha!
This is this is Biker Barbed 1. I'm sorry, what was the damage?
13.
13. All right, this poor guy has just had everything possible slammed, crushed, harpoon. No, this one wasn't harpooned.
He doesn't have a harpoon in him yet.
Yet. Listen to her. Yet. All right.
Yet.
Anything else, Captain Julius?
After I just try to continue my speed to pull away from it.
Okay.
Question.
Yep.
Because I'm a swashbuckler,
Oh no.
and technically I'm doing the attacking. Does my rakish audacity kick in that I can pull away and disengage?
I don't think that it does. However, you can use your bonus action to cause the war machine to take the disengage action while the engine is running.
I will use my bonus action to cause the war machine to disengage from the big boy.
Good. And that's what it shall do. Scribbler, we reach your turn.
Yes, I'm going to try something.
Oh, no.
It's wonderful when the spellcaster says that.
Yes, I had needed to grab more dice.
Oh, God.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm going to cast at fourth level Shatter
Oh,
on the
God.
Yes.
Oh, no.
of the big one.
I love that. Okay, great. Shatter, I believe, is a Constitution save?
Yes, made it disadvantage because it is not an organic creature.
That is correct. Okay. Oh, thank God it has a con score and doesn't automatically fail. All right. Okay, well, the first one was pretty good. And then I rolled a 2, so that's a 4. Oh, God.
Oh.
Everything hurts.
Everything hurts. I think that maybe is the name of this episode.
Everybody hurts.
Wow.
Everything
All right.
hurts.
So it takes 10, 9, 11, 21 points of thunder damage
Whoa.
to that wheel is where I was aiming for. I was
Yes,
aiming for a wheel.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I think that, you know what, I'm going to have the driver make a dexterity saving throw to see if, Okay, so the save was pretty good, but that wheel is looking rough, and he failed pretty spectacularly. So I don't feel bad saying that. We'll go ahead and decrease this, or actually, what we'll do is we'll give. This is not really how these mechanics works, and I don't care. We're gonna give the Tormentor a level of exhaustion since you blew out one of its tires.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so we reach the end of the third round, and we see the Tormentor limping along on three good wheels and one not so good wheel, with a slightly crushed Barb Devil climbing up the side, Charity just behind the helm with a rapier in the driver in the helm, the Barb Devil there. Off we pan over and we see Imba just racing away in her new bike, being pursued but more slowly by the other bike and the other Barbed Devil, and I can't wait to find out what happens there. In this moment, however, Charity, you do me a favor. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, that's not fun.
That's a poor life choices stat.
Oh yeah, that's a poor life decision move. For me, let's see. Wisdom saving throw.
Please
Let's
and thank
go
you.
ahead and do that. 1 die, right? Because I'm
Yes.
not
But you are blessed, so you will add a d4.
okay.
Right? Blessed is saving throws? Or is it not? Am I getting this wrong? I get this wrong all the time.
I always get wrong. Blessed.
I think bless is attacks and saves, maybe not checks.
And not ability
I think
checks.
that-
You are correct. You are correct.
Okay, so that was a 3 on that, and then a 16 plus 2.
You keep giving
So-
me your blessed die first, and I think that's what you rolled on your 20.
Oh, I know. That's a 21.
Okay. So this thing happens, but it does not distract you or cause you to fall off of the machine. You're able to sort of split your attentions as you hear a voice in your head. And this voice, booming and resonant and thick with power, says, "My pet, end this foolishness. I have need of you." And that's where we're going to end our session this week.
Ooh, dear.
Fantastic. I am loving everything about this crew, about this little Mad Max fight. Thank you so much for the follow, Telwyn. We're glad to have you on board. What a time to be alive. Thanks, everybody. This was our first session 0.5 of Saturday Morning D&D in Hell, Descent into Avernus. I've had a blast, and thank you all for hanging out. We're going to be here every Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so check us out. What we're going to do for this sign-off, and we'll do this every week, we're going to go around, let everybody know, players, who you are, where we can find you on the interwebs, and give us one of your favorite moments from the session as just sort of a way to do a little wrap up, if you would. So we'll go in reverse order for this. So we'll start with Jeremiah.
Well, I'm Jeremiah McCoy. I'm Tech Noir on Twitter. I have jeremiahmccoy.com as my personal website where I do some blogging, and you can probably hear me on the Tome Show from time to time. And my favorite moment, honestly, I think my favorite moment was when Imba failed her little check at the beginning, and Evie goes and picks her up, critted to pick her up with the claw. I just like the movie visual in my head of what that looks like.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because I could picture her falling, and then you see the claw swing and grab her.
Yes. In the movie in my head, that was awesome.
You all are quite good at creating very vivid movie in my head images, I will say, and I'm excited for that to continue. Awesome. Thanks, Jeremiah. Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. You can find me on the internet in various places at Alex Cato. I mostly shitpost about D&D and write horrible one-page games. My favorite moment from tonight was definitely Imba, basically telling the Barb Devil, "You snooze, you lose, big boy," and riding away on his motorcycle. That's a whole mood that I want to keep
Absolutely.
going on with.
Absolutely. Well, in that case, let's continue on with Dobbs.
All right. So I'm Dobbs. You can find me just about anywhere under Dobbsmosis. I mainly paint miniatures, post lots of pictures online of it. My favorite moment, it's actually hard to say. There were a lot of good ones.
One of your favorites.
Oh, gosh. I honestly did not expect for Imba to get her hands on a bike this quickly.
I didn't either.
I honestly didn't. I thought like maybe like halfway through our campaign, she finally gets her hands on a bike because that was like her goal. And it's like, here is a bike. And I'm just like, God, what is she going to do now?
I mean, you
don't
have
know
to take
why-
care of it.
I don't know
Yeah.
why I didn't sort of clock that you would drop everything and go after this bike. I just sort of, I guess in my brain, which again, like, how to make God laugh, in my brain, like, you all would do this, and then if you managed to defeat the devil without destroying the bike, then maybe Imba would get it. No, okay.
Yeah, so that
I
was
love
very unexpected. And it does warm my heart that Imba's well received. I was a little bit paranoid that I haven't played a character this chaotic, so I didn't know if I would push it too far.
No,
But
not at all.
I'm glad that she's well received, so I really
Yes,
appreciate that to everyone.
Absolutely.
All my fellow players and as well as in chat, because I've been seeing some very
Chat
hilarious
seems
things
to
in there.
enjoy Chaos Granny, so.
But okay, but on another side, another thing that I super duper loved
Mhm.
was Jeremiah stepping in and saving Imba, but it was
Oh,
more
I
of
did
a
like it.
that's my prisoner. I'm good. You can't do anything to her because I'm gonna arrest her later.
Yes, I love
I
that.
like that. I like that a lot.
I did too. All right, Mike.
So I'm Mike. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Enzo Michael, and then on Instagram as Mike What the Hell. That is just one. Mike What the Hell, just all straight across. My favorite moment. We're gonna get a little Imba-centric in this. Is that
Y'all
just
gonna make me blush.
So it was when you wound up like just going absolutely feral and just like that's mine. Just absolutely warmed the heart. I do have a second moment.
Sure.
Though I absolutely loved Julius's power slide around the
Yes.
and just that like really
Yes, I love it.
glorious.
And speaking of Julius, Wally.
Hi, my name is Wally. You can find me on the internets on the Digital Era Entertainment and on the Decode podcast. You can also find me on the Twitters as Wally132. Also, for my favorite moment, actually, Iqbal's on our DM with this. Every single time we came up with something, the fault of face, because you knew what we were thinking, and you were like, "Why am I giving you this much power to control me?" And
so
I have been
good.
loving it every single time.
It's
that was like
such
the choice moments.
fun
Oh, yeah.
storytelling. I love it.
I-
Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Yeah, your reactions generally to most of our antics was as they say, chef kiss.
Well, my reactions and facial expressions have become somewhat of a staple when I'm live on Variant Roles, so I wouldn't want to disappoint our returning audiences and not allow them to make fun of me and my complete lack of poker face. Thanks for the follow, Rakodactyla. Oh, see, this is gonna get fun. Thanks for following. We're glad to have you with us. Okay, and I'm Eugenio, also sometimes and currently known as your friendly neighborhood dungeon master, DM Jazzy Hands. You can find me on Twitter at DM Jazzy Hands. I am the dungeon master also of an actual play podcast called The Last Refuge. You can follow us on Twitter at DND Last Refuge. We release episodes every Wednesday. We are in our third year of production, and exciting things are happening. So follow us too, and give us a download and check us out. See what you think. I'm also, along with Alex, the two of us are on the Creative Council here on Variant Roles. We are very happy to have you with us here. I guess I should finish up my stuff first. So you can find me on The Last Refuge. I am, on Monday, also going to be starting another campaign here on Variant Roles using the Overlight system, as published by Renegade Game Studios. Super excited about that. It's going to be a shorter run, probably 6 to 8 weeks, but it'll be a really cool opportunity for folks to check out a system that I think a lot of people are not super familiar with. So I've got a great team of players for that. We're going to be on Monday nights after Grim Femmes here on Variant Roles, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern and going till about 11 p.m. It is also Halloween October season, so I am also a designer and a writer. So if you have need of a Halloween adventure, shoot me a DM on Twitter. I have just the thing for you, and that's all I'll say here. Now back to the Variant Roles stuff. Alex and I are on the Creative Council. We are very happy to have you here. If you have not already, hit that little follow button, the little heart up at the top of the screen. Make sure you get notifications anytime the channel goes live, because we do have a ton of stuff going on here at Variant Roles. We have something every single night of the week, and also, of course, on Saturday mornings, we have us here doing Descent into Avernus. Our next show is going to be tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern with our mixtape, which I believe is going to be GM'd by our other Creative Council and founder of Variant Roles, Dan Gaston. So be sure and check that out at 9 p.m. Eastern time. What else? Also, if you like what you see here, we are an ever-expanding community. Just in the last year and a half since I've been involved, Variant Roles has super exploded, and it's all because of your support, your presence in these streams, your presence in chat, your presence... Oh, just kidding. There's nothing on tonight. Dan forgot to remove that from the calendar. So, in that case, our next thing then is going to be tomorrow. Is this right? It's going to be tomorrow. Follow so you get a notification. I don't want to tell you what it is in case I'm wrong.
Mystery show.
We so appreciate your support, your presence here, watching the shows, your presence in chat, if that's the thing you do. Your follows mean a ton to us. If you are able and willing and have the desire to support us a little bit more, Variant Roles does have a Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/variantroles and become a patron. Thanks for the follow, Aberlin. Glad to have you on board. You can become a patron at our Patreon. We also are thrilled to have you subscribe here to our Twitch channel if that's a thing that you're willing to do. And of course, follow us on Twitter at Variant Roles so that you always get the latest updates, particularly when we're looking for players for new games. That's going to be one of our primary ways of advertising for that. So be sure and follow us there. We only need 76 more followers to hit 1,000, as Dan just pointed out. So tell your friends to come back next week and watch and follow. We're so close. Yes, we are going to do a little raid after this. If anyone wants to continue watching, we're going to raid Unmade Gaming. I want to just make sure that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover here. Some show is coming up. Follow us and all of that good stuff. Oh, two other things. In the coming weeks, we're actually going to follow this maybe like once or twice a month. We're going to follow our Descent into Avernus stream with a little review show.
Nice.
We had the absolute privilege of getting to know some of the folks particularly at Renegade Game Studios, although we're going to review games from all over, from all different publishers and different companies. But we just don't have the space in our calendar to do full runs of games with all of the stuff that people have been so kind as to send our way. And so this is going to be our way of sort of filling in those gaps. We're going to take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour if we really get going, to tell you all about some of the exciting games that are out there, some of the exciting systems, adventures, campaign settings, all of that stuff. When we do it, we'll make sure and announce it at the top of the show here in the morning, but it will immediately follow this show. We're hoping to maybe do one either next week or the week after, so stay tuned for that. I'm very excited about that. Alex is going to be helping me out with a lot of those episodes too. So
some of them.
Well, she's going to be helping me out with some of those too. It is very early in the morning for you. I know. I appreciate you being a part of this. Okay. Is there anything else I've missed? I would like to grant our resident Chaos Granny Imba and Dobbs an inspiration for next week, since you had the most votes. You all didn't know that's what they were, but votes for favorite moment from this week's game. You were fantastic. You were all fantastic. But Dobbs, you'll start next week with a point of inspiration. And I think that's it for us now. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Please do come back next week, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, to check us out again as we continue and find out who called Charity their pet and what exactly do they need. We are going to head over to Unmade Gaming with a raid here shortly. Thanks so much for watching. We appreciate you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy gaming, y'all. And off. Oh, I always do this wrong because it takes 10 seconds. Anyway, off we go to Unmade Gaming. We're going to check out their friends over there. It looks like they're doing an Extra Life stream. So enjoy that. Happy gaming.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
And
we're
I
off.
think we have gone.
We're done.
I'm not
Yeah, we're
exactly
gone.
sure, but I think we have
Wonderful.
gone.
Yep.
Awesome. Oh, you all, that was so fun. Thank you. I'm just gonna give me 1 second.
Round of applause for DM.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
that was
no.
amazing. Thank
That was
you.
amazing.
Jazz hands, guys. Jazz hands.
Jazz hands, jazz hands, jazz hands.
Every time,
Everything.
yeah, every time we came up with something off the wall, like
Oh my God.
you just rolled
His
with it.
face, because as soon as we would say, so, hey, his face like, oh,